What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to How to Trade, formerly known as That Midday Show. That is your girl, Adara, and I am Sharif. And we're going to wait for everyone to weasel on over from the other stream. Callum Mitchell Miller, he's telling you, Adara, crowd, and easy short. Big Adam DeLuce, what's up, my man? Adam, shout out to you. Can't wait for you to be here as well. My man's coming to visit. Hey, Davis, Hamster, Cesar Sandoval. We got Saman Nourian. We got Blue Arrow stock up, a proper paradox. So we got Scott H as well. Let's go to you too, sir. Easy Trader, Francis de la Cruz, and enjoy fun with Josie. Oh, what's up, Ram? I took a video of you. Maybe we should show that video too. Rob Jenkins, Darius Golden, Mr. Longshorts, and 1320 Wolf. Uh-oh, I'm getting notifications over here, Adara. Oh, we're short the triple Qs. Bang! Right away. We take like 40 pennies super quick on that. Shout out to the Katina, man. What a move down. Oh, no. The Katina. Sorry, bro. Your exuberance is rubbing off on me. Shout out to the Katina, man. Doing the most in the best way there. Yeah, the market just went flush. That 100-point level on the NQ June contract went bang. And it's what is going on there?
I went short the SPY.
Wow. Everything's beeping up on this. Wow, everybody's yelling. I love it. I'm very excited. Derek, get it.
Yeah, so basically what happened was, like I said, I like taking SPY shorts during when the market falls, and I like doing them when they're at dollar levels. So what happens? Imagine my delight, guys. Imagine the sheer delight on this here face when I look over and I see, oh my gosh, we're at a whole dollar level in the SPY. Do we test it? I watch the swivel. I watch the swaffle. We break below it. I get my order ready for 543. We come back. We get 543. Boom. And we get it all the way down here to 543.70s, 30 pennies on that SPY. How are you doing this morning, Sharif? Because I didn't get to also congrats on your trade.
Thank you. Congrats on yours as well. I know we kind of just like jumped into the trading right away without really. But I mean, Adara, everything is tanking on the Mag 7. Here is a look at the markets. Nothing is being spared at the moment. Nvidia is not being spared. I swear I looked over the Katina man today and I said the same thing to Brendo. I'm like, do we see $100 on the monster Nvidia by the end of the week? And if so, are you buying 100? I know I will add. I have a very small position left over pre-split. I will be adding a very small amount at said 100 should it come in. But that really is not the hype right now. We're about to touch 19,000 on the NQ September contract. It doesn't feel like anything is holding this market up. Green to red we go again. 19,020 right now. The low of day looking like it's going to get tested right now as we are going to print lower. And there it is. We continue to head down more. 19,000 incoming, baby. The weakness is palpable and nothing is being spared. Everything in Mag 7 world now negative, with Nvidia leading the way, Adara, aggressively 5 2/3 to the downside. Unreal.
Yeah, I'm just watching the SPY getting to another whole dollar level, and we just heard what I said about whole dollar levels on the SPY. I like to short them.
I like it.
But it's bouncing here, so I'm going to wait. No interest in getting involved here too early. Bears versus Bulls, shout out to you in the chat saying, what a way to open the show. Holy cow. Yeah, you're not wrong. SPY, you want to SPY, you want to give me 542s? I'm a little bit more hesitant about this. I'm going to take smaller size because I feel like this 542 is a little bit bouncier. I'm going to be ready to punch, but I'm not going to punch. Okay, I mean, now, you did like three times the charm, SPY, okay? If we get decisively a little bit of a change in the tides here, I'll get out, but I did take a smaller position because I feel like this move could be a little bit more anemic. I want to see what we do here, though, as we get into 542.20s. Yeah, okay. We're coming back down. Okay, SPY. SPY, wait for me, SPY. Now, okay, I don't really like what we're doing here. I want to see us get to that 5. Oh, okay, I mean, SPY. Thank you, SPY.
Yeah, get it, Adara.
I was like, I want to wait. You know, I know it's being really wiffle-waffle here, but like I said, I find my trading, especially on scalps, is better if I don't give it like dollar levels for risk, if I just give it more what I see in the book. Took 10 pennies on the SPY, little baby scalp, pleased as punch with that trade. And that's what, you know, Sean said, if you're not as confident in a trade, he was saying today he didn't love his look in the market at that time in the day. Look how things change, but take smaller size, right? So I have my eye on the SPY. I want to shout out Callum Mitchell Miller mentioning Crowdstrike. I do have my eyes on Crowdstrike. That has been on my side chart, so that's the thing I'm looking at. I'm also looking at QXO, which is a Jared Kushner-backed company that dropped a cool 80% overnight because they filed some securities registrations. Also, I want to shout out as well, shout out to Sean. He mentioned I'm going to talk about a little bit, get more into detail on my 1 p.m. trading thesis and how that came to be, but we're not going to do that yet. I just want to clarify, I will be talking about that, but right now now first, we're going to talk about the continuation gaps for our lesson du jour.
Yes, thank you for that excellent segue, Adair. I appreciate it. We are talking, yes, about those continuation gaps. Oh, there's nobody there. Hi. A synonym for these continuation gaps, they're known as runaway gaps as well. So if you haven't really heard the term continuation, you maybe heard runaway. Runaway, runaway. Do you know that one? Run away and say goodbye.
Yes,
Yes,
it took me a second to.
I know.
There's so many songs with Runaway too that like that's a great theme for songs.
Yeah, because you usually punch outside your weight class, so I'm usually, I expect Adair to know everything. I have that expectation, well, it is what it is. All right, so let's get to work, baby. Traders, today we're focusing on continuation gaps, also known as runaway gaps. These gaps often signal a strong continuation of the existing trend. Would you believe that? Continuation gap signals a strong continuation. So let's understand these gaps. What are they first and foremost? A continuation gap, or again, a runaway gap, is a gap in the price chart that occurs within a trending market. It doesn't initiate the trend, it doesn't end the trend, it occurs within the trend, okay? So one thing I wanna tell you about, we could see multiple of these continuation gaps within larger trends, especially. I'll show you that on the chart in a second. So unlike breakaway gaps, which often signal the start of a new trend, continuation gaps help reinforce the existing trend. Continuation, runaway, same thing. So this is kind of what they look like here. So this is kind of all gaps explained. The reason I wanted to show this image is to show where we are in gap world. So we talked about breakaway gaps first and foremost. We talked about the two different types of exhaustion gaps that you can get. We've also talked about common gaps and how they, they're quite bamboozling. This is the continuation gap. So if you were to pretend this chart here is a prolonged trend, let's pretend these are monthly candles. This is what you would see a continuation gap in. We're already moving up. We're not breaking through key areas of resistance or support, maybe local areas of resistance or support, but this happens within a trending market. It goes both ways, up and down. And here's what it looks like on the way up. There you go. You've got that continuation. You've got basically a trend up and to the right. A news catalyst comes in overnight, something that reinforces the trend. Get it, Adara.
Thank you.
And then it basically continues the move up. It doesn't end the trend, doesn't begin the trend, it reinforces the existing trend. Here's what it looks like to the downside. No real surprise there. We're making lower highs, lower lows on the downtrend. Boom, overnight, negative catalyst comes in, we're gapping lower. So what are the characteristics of these continuation/runaway gaps? Well, first and foremost, their size. Let's talk about what the typical size is. Continuation gaps, they do vary in size, so they can be a little bit bamboozling if you're trying to use this characteristic to judge it, but they often appear larger than common gaps, maybe a little bit smaller than initiation gaps. Nothing really discussed in the textbook with respect or comparing them to exhaustion gaps. So what I'd say about this is they're typically a little bit larger than common gaps, and they don't occur within this consolidation no trend phase. They occur within a trend, so you should be able to distinguish them from common gaps, given that they should be in a trending market. Timing. They typically occur after not a long period of consolidation, but a minute or miniature period of consolidation or a pullback, again, within an established trend up and to the right or down and to the right. Volume, interesting one as well. Increased trading volume should accompany the continuation gap, indicating the strong buying and selling pressure that was obviously the reason, the precipice that we're gapping in the first place. And the price action usually continues the move in the direction of the trend. You don't want to see that gap get filled, nor do you want to see zigzagging, right? You can come back in to test the breakout area of the gap, but it should hold that area, and that's actually a trade we're going to talk about coming up a little bit shortly here. So size, they vary in size, but they should be larger than common. Timing, they occur after a small consolidation or a small pullback within an existing trend. Volume, you should see increasing volume on the gap, and the price action, it should continue in the direction of the trend. And this is basically how it would look over here. So the reason I selected this one is I want to show you within larger trends, you can get multiple runaway/continuation gaps. There's no requirement or, just there's no, strict rule that says one continuation gap per trend. No, you can get multiple ones depending on how prolonged the trend is, okay? And here is basically another continuation gap. We bottom out there at $1.30, $1.25. We start trending, so this is not, initiating the trend, it's just continuing the trend. So why do continuation gaps occur? So basically, there's a few reasons. Increased investor interest. So a surge in buying or selling interest can quickly push prices away from the recent levels, obviously creating that gap. But there's also, that overnight news, overnight negative news, positive news, whatever, related to an asset can trigger a rapid price movement. There's also, multiple different reasons as well. I mean, I'm not giving just asset related, it could be market related, whatever. And there's technical factors. For example, aggressive overbought or oversold positions could, trigger a lot of buy orders or sell orders, which could have the effect of creating a gap. So let's talk about trading these continuation/runaway gaps. We're going to talk about a couple of different trades here. We're going to talk about a pullback entry and a breakout entry. So let's start with the first one. We're going to talk about the pullback entry. So first and foremost, here what you're doing is you're waiting for a pullback to the gap where the gap broke out from, okay? So if it's a long position, you're waiting for it to come back into that breakout gap. If it's a short position, you're waiting for it to come up back into that gap, okay? And so the first thing to identify here, or the first step to do in this pullback trade, is identify areas of support and resistance. So after the gap, the previous support level often becomes resistance and vice versa. We know that a pullback to these levels can offer a good entry opportunity, and that's kind of what I'm trying to say there. And your retracement levels as well. You can use Fibonacci, using Fibonacci retracement levels can help identify potential support and resistance areas within the pullback. For example, a pullback to 38.2 or 50%, like we talked about, for wave 2 on wave 1 in Elliott wave theory. Who remembers that? Okay, so that is the first strategy. Wait for the gap to initiate, then wait for the price to retrace somewhere near the breakout level of the gap, and then look to get in there to defend that key area of support. That's one strategy. The other strategy, or here it is, sorry. So here we go. So this is, we're trending along. This is the initiation gap over here. It breaks us above a key area of support. We continue up, and here is the runaway/continuation gap. We gap up overnight. We move up to here, and then look what happens. We sell off for a couple days with multiple bottoming tail candles near the area where we gapped up. Oh, my monitor just went out, so I'll just give it a second here. We wait for it to basically come in to the breakout area, and then we buy it at that breakout area, and then what ends up doing is it ends up trending up. Now, what I would do is I would have my stop below the breakout candle. So this is the breakout candle over here. That's the candle that we gap up on. If I was to enter around right here, my stop would be in and around right there, because if we fill that gap, now I know my trade is no longer valid, right? This is probably a common gap as opposed to a runaway gap if this is to get filled. So my stop would go right below the candle over here. Now, let's talk about the breakout strategy, right? So we talked about the pullback, now we're gonna talk about the breakout. For more aggressive traders, consider entering on a breakout of the high of the gap of an uptrend, or breakdown of the low of the gap on a downtrend. I'll show you what I mean in a second. This strategy requires a higher risk tolerance because you're getting in at highs or getting in at lows, as there is a chance of false breakouts, right? So in this particular case, you're looking for volume confirmation to help alleviate some of the fake out breakout or fake out breakdown signals. You're looking for increased trading volume accompanying the breakout, which can help strengthen your signal. So where do you place stops? So I kind of showed you where to place stops on a particular pullback trade. There are, different methods to place these stops. So objective stop loss placement is important here. Instead of placing a stop arbitrarily below or above the gap, use support and resistance levels possibly here. In the case of an uptrend, place the stop loss below the nearest significant support level below the gap. For a downtrend, I would say the opposite. Place the stop loss above the nearest significant resistance level before the gap. So if you don't want to use the gap as your area stop, you can look for previous areas of key support or resistance preceding the gap. Okay, and then you can also employ volatility-based stops. What do we use for that? ATR. average true range. You consider using average true range to determine stop loss level based on market volatility. In case you want to know how to do that, go back to our lessons on average true range and true range, because we did both, where we talk about how to use that to place your stops. Profit targets. How are you going to weasel your way out of this trade? So first and foremost, you can use fibs. We did this entire week, 2 weeks actually, on Elliott waves, where we used fibs to gauge the retracements as well as project wave 3 based on the size of wave 1. And what did we say? We said 1.618 times the length of wave 1. So we've used fibs before to project profits, not just pullbacks. So keep that in mind. Fibs super helpful here. These can be used to identify potential profit targets based on the size of the gap. You can also use moving averages. Look for moving average crossover. For example, if the 10 crosses below the 20 on the time frame that you're trading, or the 20 crosses below the 50, whatever it is, that death cross, whatever moving average combination you're using, if it triggers, you can use that as well. And you should employ a risk to reward ratio. We're not going to tell you which one to use, but one of the more popular ones is 1 to 2, so that you can have winning or like 50-50 winning trades, or even less than 50-50 yet still be profitable. Last but not least, confirmation is key when it comes to trading these gaps, continuation or otherwise. While continuation gaps suggest a strong continuation in the direction of the trend, it's crucial to seek confirmation from other technical indicators. You can do things like RSI and MACD or moving averages that can help confirm the trend strength and the potential for further price movement. And just to leave you guys with a bonus tip, pay attention to the overall market sentiment when trading continuation gaps. A strong bullish or bearish sentiment can enhance the potential profitability of these trades today.
Yeah, and I mean, I think I want to shout out to Sharif there for that awesome lesson. Shout out to you.
Appreciate you.
And yeah, like what's great too is you can go back and build upon these lessons. We always talk about confluence. Shout out to someone in the back there. We talk about confluence. We talk about making sure you have confirmation signals. So go back and look at some of these other lessons, and that's one way you can find a way to marry all of these lovely little symbols and signals together. Also, I'm long Crowdstrike. I want to talk about it because if you would ask me this morning, hey, Adara, do you think you'll go long Crowdstrike? I might have laughed in your face. But I actually stand by this trade. Why do I stand by this trade? I will yap about it. I will say I wish I had a better entry, but I basically was watching this, and I want to shout out Kyle Mitchell-Miller, who was saying, you know, Crowdstrike, easy short. And it was throughout the day. It kept giving you these 9 EMA rejections. But then you start to see, get a couple candles to the upside, get a skosh of bullishness. And I watched on the book, I initially was looking, I was interested in this starting at 233s. We could hold 233s. Couldn't get 233s, but I wasn't really trying. I was like, let's see what we do here at 233.50. We hold 233.50. I'm like, Adara, if you can get 234s, get your 234s. So we get 234s. I see that hold. I like it. I want it. I got it. Shout out to Ariana Grande and her song there, 7 Rings. Yeah, there's not going to be like any kind of 7-figure, 7-ring trade over here on Crowdstrike. I took a really small position, but I am willing to add if we come up and we bounce here around that 235 area. I want this to be a big white whale trade. I want to have some blubber on this here trade in Crowdstrike. If we reject the 9 EMA, I will not love that. I will be really honest with you here. This is a level I put arguably too much emphasis on, so I want to be cognizant of that. If we come back and bounce off 234, I'm cool with Crowdstrike. I see you. I like you. I'm willing to give this one a little bit more risk, A, because it is a smaller position size, and B, it's Crowdstrike. It is a bit spreadier, it is a bit newsier, and it has this SSR bounce. So, I mean, I don't mind this at all. Right now, I like this trade, so we're going to have to see if I continue to like this trade. But as you know, as Sean says, a shout out to Roaring Kitty, because he is Roaring Katina as well. He likes the stock. I like Crowdstrike. Currently 50 pennies in the money, and as I said, willing to add as part of my plan. The reason I was whooping and wallering, or hooping and whatever word you want to use during the lesson, is Tesla.
Nice. I
want to talk about Tesla. So I said with Tesla, I'm purely doing book scalps. Obviously, chart levels will help you, but I'm only getting involved based on stuff I see in the book. Now, I watched Tesla as it came into 226. I've been waxing poetic about 226 for a while now because 226 was a bit of a gap area on the daily chart. I did not think in any world we'd get to 226 today. But then the markets happened. The markets were like, world, here I am. So I basically like this. I got involved here as a long scalp. When I said, Adara, this 226 bounce, if you can get anything around here, will be interesting. We start bouncing off 50s. I see us hold 60s, pop up, then get back there. I got long 66. I was initially willing to get out 227, so I was willing to take 34 pennies on this. We could not get to 227. I said, Adara, maybe you have to piece some out, save a piece for the dream. As I cancel that order, Tesla pops above 227. I'm like, Tesla, you want to give me more than what I wanted? You, Tesla? Okay, so I ended up getting out half the position at 227.08, so took roughly like just over 40 pennies on that, got the rest out at 227.30. Please just punch with that trade. Those are the only trades I've been involved in since the lesson. We're $1 in the money in Crowdstrike.
Wow.
So I'm gonna have to see if I can Crowdstrike while the iron's hot and add to this position, depending what I like here at the 9 EMA. But I don't want to add into oblivion either. I'm willing to just let this baby run with my very small position. Please just punch on Crowdstrike. Also, really quickly before we chat with Sharif here and Benzinga, I want to say, because I know Sean had mentioned here my 1 p.m. rules, and he said, Adara will talk about it. I will talk about it. So my thing with 1 p.m. rules, and it was Sean had commented something in the chat, and I agreed with this yesterday, is you don't want to be taking trades based on time of day. So, right, you want to see, it shouldn't matter as long as you have movement and price action. What I've noticed, though, is, like I said, I get a little bit sleepier. I'm a naturally tired person, which is a fact that is understandably, I think, shocking to some people, but I am. Sharif can testify. Oh, yeah. I do get a little bit sleepy around that 1 p.m., 2 p.m. hour. So for me, it's less about the time of day specifically and more just the mental changes. And I think the same way that you're going to be cognizant if you are short biased, if you're long biased, I want to be cognizant of tired bias. Trademark. No, I'm joking. It's not trademarked. But so for that in mind, that's why I like to implement my trading strategy. I would notice I would go from like green to red back when I used to look at my P&L when I was like taking these trades after 1 p.m. unless I did tons of due diligence. I've noticed the trading after 1 p.m. and when I'm more tired has changed substantially for the better since I started implementing these rules. Again, not perfect, but just something I've been keeping in mind. So I wanted to shout that out. And that's when I talk about my tired trading rules, that's kind of the impetus for those. So I want to shout out Sean for encouraging me to talk about that. Crowdstrike, you got a shout out too, because you're still you're $1 in the money. I may add, I want to, thank you, I appreciate that. I don't want to get too greedy and add, but I want to see what we do at 235s. How are you doing?
We're good. Are you tired of being late to the trade? Are you always playing catch up in the market? Are you missing out on the big moves because you're too slow to the news? Benzinga Pro is your unfair advantage. Get breaking news alerts up to 30 minutes before everybody else. Pinpoint exactly why stocks are moving and join a thriving community of traders who share their strategies in real time. Are you ready to see how Benzinga Pro can transform your trading? Visit benzinga.com/pro and get yourself that free 14-day trial. Free. Did I say free?
You did.
I did say free. That's good. All right, so I'm keeping an eye. Let's bring in, look, guys, I don't have small caps today because there's just way too many different names running, but I do have a side chart that doesn't include the Mag 7. And here we go. We've got Crowd, we've got NVAX, we've got Affirm, PayPal, Lumen, Merck, or Mercked. My mic pack is Mercked because Ram is over here trying to take care of it. We also have Tilray as well. All of these guys really coming off their either lows or highs, depending on whether they were bullish or bearish. Lumen, I sent you that thing there, Neil. I don't know if you saw it in the chat. You saw it, no worries. Because Lumen did have a deal with this company. I'll tell you in a second over here because I did send it to Neil. Here it is. The Lumen company is going to do something with Cornish or something like that. Anyway, there is a deal here that involves Lumen. As a result, they're up nicely on the day. LUMN, we'll keep tabs on that. Let me just see what they're up. Yeah, they're up 49 some odd %, well off the high though at 344, trying to hold the volume weighted average price at 2 3/4. So good look there. I'm keeping an eye on this one, seeing if it's tradable. MERK is coming into the 10 exponential on the 5. This is an earnings loser. They are not doing all that well. Probably behooves me to put Pfizer on here too because they reported, and keep an eye on Pfizer. I need to remove these pivot points because they're distracting. There we go. So Pfizer also coming in to that 20 exponential and getting a topping tail candle. So I'm really interested in here on NVAX, interested on Crowd because it's at the 10 as well, and interested on MRK. They're all kind of the same look. You can see they're all down and to the right, and they're all three touching the 10 exponential or the 9 or whatever you're trading off right now on the 5 minute. Neither one is breaching. A bit of a topping tail candle or a doji candle right now on Crowd. So we'll see how this one ends up manifesting. Adara's printing up a storm on that. We're going to shout her out. And MERK breaking through the 10 exponential on the 5 right now. I think, well, if this one does like Pfizer and moves all the way up into the yellow line there at 160, 116, excuse me, and 3/4 touches a 20 exponential. I'm going to get short on this one. I can just already tell you by how it's trading, it's quite rangy, but that's not a surprise to me because the liquidity on these names not going to be all that great. So keeping an eye on all these names. There's lots to talk about today, including the Mag 7. Obviously, I was looking at 19,000 to see whether or not we got a bump up. And let me tell you, this is one hell of an anemic bounce off a key 1,000 point level. I would have expected, if there was any bids to be had right now anyway, that this 19,000 level would have been bid up a little bit more. We didn't even get to the 10 exponential on the 5 at 19,060. We can't even breach that third, that 19,040 area. We're still hanging out in the 30s. So this looks like a dead cat bounce to me on the future. I'm not going to trade it, but we'll keep an eye on it right here. The Mag 7 names have been quite bamboozling to me as of late, and that's why I've loaded up these bad boys over here, Adara, to see if I can trade a little bit better on some non-Mag 7 names.
Yeah, so I did have an update in the chat. Now the position board is correct. So when I added to Crowdstrike, it didn't reflect my new average. It was 234.59, but I'm pleased as punch to say I took $1 out there when we got to 235. So I am now, that is correct. I want to see what we do here at 235s. We are whiffling and we are waffling. Happy I added, and to clarify, I added because I saw that 90 MA bounce. Just so we get a little bit lower, we get near 234s. And I say, Adara, don't panic sell. This is part of your plan. It's part of your plan, Adara. So the plan so far is going according to plan. If I do not see some nice hustle and bustle back up of that 235 very soon, though, Crowdstrike, I'm going to have to strike where the iron's hot and get out of this trade. The way we're building, though, on the book, I actually think we could.
Nice.
We could. I appreciate that. I think we could, like the way we're having these higher lows on the book, I think there is a potential for a nice little breakout of that 235 if we get it. As you know, we got it earlier and we topping tail candled. So, okay, Crowdstrike, I clapped, but I'm a little bit confused here. We break above that 235, but in a way that is kind of, to use a Sharifism, a skosh anemic. I want to wait and see if, I think we're going to get out of this position. You got to feel confident. I felt way more confident about this trade earlier, and I'm willing to get back in if we keep bouncing off the 90 MA. But it's like, Adara, you already added, which again, there's potential for that in the way I planned the trade. But this has already been of not necessarily your favorite trade. Just get out here, or favorite type of trade, I mean, because I am proud of what I did here generally with Crowdstrike. I just want to get out if we can get back. I think I have my order here at 86s, so that would be, again, not massive profit here compared to where I got in the rest of that position, but I just do not want to be here anymore as Crowdstrike gets back here below. Crowdstrike, please fill me. Sincerely, a Daryl Page. Again, this is a really small position we have left from that ad, so let's see what we do here. If you don't feel good about something, if you've changed your mind on how you see that position, you don't want to turn a winner into a loser, which is like, Crowdstrike, can you please hear what I'm trying to say here and let me out? Should have gotten everything out at 235. But woulda, coulda, shoulda. Let's see what we do here. I want to see what we do if we get back to this 234 area. That being said, I would love if Crowdstrike would just fill me and let me out. That's my, I'm going to stop ranting about Crowdstrike because I have said the words Crowdstrike way too many times in the past, minute? Even 30 seconds, potentially. So yeah, those topping tail candles should have been aside. You learn, you grow, and you learn. AMD here, what are you doing, AMD? Because I saw someone mentioning AMD. AMD, a little bit interesting at this 137.40 area. I liked 141s yesterday, but that has come and gone and been in the mist, so I don't even know if that's a level worth chatting or looking at as of right now. That was a level we kind of got up to here, then lower highs, and we quadunked. Let's see if AMD can make some higher lows, which it looks like it wants to do. Higher lows, Crowdstrike, you hear that? No, I'm joking. It's fine. We're still above 234s. I'm going to let him, okay, as I say that, trying to get a little dicey here. Come on, Crowdstrike. Let's be good to Adara. Like I said, I'm giving this one a little bit more leeway because we are still near that 234s. I'm not seeing anything in the book to make me run for the hills quite yet. Also, if you have any tickers that you're looking at that make you want to run for the hills or run right into the trade, get in that chat, exclamation point, join space, $, whatever tickers your fancy. I'm going to have to go deal with my friend Crowdstrike because we might have struck out on that ad. How are you doing?
No worries. We just took like a nice 25 penny winner on MRK, nice. A retracement off the 10 exponential. It's still dojiing at the moment right now on the 5, so I'm trying to pack my patience with the remaining balance here. If we get a little bit deeper, I'm definitely, is that a word? Definitely? I'm definitely going to be looking to short again at the 20 exponential on the 5. The reason I keep looking back and forth is because the 20 exponential, I'm trying to determine where that level is at 116 3/4. So I would definitely be interested in that level. If we can continue to come back down, I'll take out this entire position and then I'll look to get in again at 116 and a half and 3/4 in and around that level. I'd like to see if it can work its way down there. NVAX is kind of the same look right now that I'm seeing on MRK. Where we retrace into the 10 exponential, don't breach it, and then we're not really selling all that aggressively. So we'll keep an eye on that. I do like this trade though, but I gotta tell you, if not Crowdstrike, excuse me, CRWD, here's what I'm gonna do. Here's a plan. So if we break above 115.75, I'm gonna risk about 35 pennies left with a small amount that I have. If we make a new candle above this doji candle right here, that's gonna be the end of my trade, and then I will be looking to get in at 116, and a half, 70, where it depends on where it really holds up. Sometimes it doesn't breach the 20 exponential, sometimes it does. So we're gonna pack our patience on this one and see what we can get. And here it is, it's breaking above that 75 penny level. So we'll get out there for a very small loss on that remaining amount. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set up my other short, like I talked about. I'm gonna put it at 116.50. Call me crazy. But that's exactly what I'm doing right now. Crazy. Thank you, Dara. I appreciate it.
I'm joking.
Right?
Funny.
We're gonna set up a short on the merked one. 116, yeah, sorry.
I like it.
I had to, Adara. I mean, it set me up there. So here we go. We're putting in that short. We're sitting there waiting for this bad boy to come in. We'll see what we get, and we will not get upset. So keeping an eye right now on NVAX as well, as it's also breaking through the 10 exponential on the 5 in the same way that MRK is. But look how Crowdstrike rejected the 10 exponential on the 5. So that is something to keep an eye out on, right? One here, obviously, or two of them, sorry, is an earnings play. One is obviously a bad news catalyst. So make the distinctions there. I guess, you know, maybe some individuals looking to buy into MRK at these levels. We'll have to wait and see. Interesting look, though, on all of them right now. Pfizer as well, trying to weasel its way, and it did actually weasel its way back into the volume-weighted average price. I've got a lot of biotech on today, not by design. I guess just so many reported. And, you know, sometimes that happens also with retail and banks. They all kind of report at the same time. So unsurprised there. Look at this level, though, on Pfizer. This is the 930 and 935 lows there at $30.60. It's up. Excuse me, also the volume weighted average price. This is a really good area to get short. At least that's kind of how I see it. So let's take off the Cybertruck over here and put on the blue pilled man over here, because that's what they're known for, Dara. So
like
it's not our fault.
No, it was just the way that you said it was entertaining to me.
Right? Yeah, I meant it to be. We're on a show.
Yeah,
right?
of course.
So
no, I love.
yeah, exactly. So I'm keeping an eye on Pfizer. I like it here around the volume weighted average price. What's the price on Pfizer right now? So that 60 penny area, we're right there. So I'm going to give it the old community college try short on Pfizer right here, Dara.
Yeah, I'm trying to give it. Sorry, I just said the yeah because I was like Tesla. Also, I shout out to you and all your biotech stocks. Maybe they all be profitable, and may you prosper in all of them, because we love shout outs here on Trader TV Live and on this desk. I am attempting, emphasis on attempting here, this Tesla short. I am in this short. I was waxing poetic about this Tesla 226. Honestly, for the last few days, I waxed poetic again this morning because we actually had an opportunity to get into that level. Took that long scalp on this earlier. Now, I took a smaller position on this short scalp of the 226. Why was it a smaller position? Because initially, I wanted that first 226 breakout. I missed it. So it was all good. I took 15 pennies on this. Am I like super enthused about this trade? No, because I could have done better. I should have probably given it a little bit more, and I should have. Oh, no, you got to risk to make rewards. So a scared trader is a deficient trader. 15 pennies is, of course, not like, I'm not going to cry myself to sleep over it. I still took profit. But Adara, do better and learn and grow. That being said, we had the 226 break that I wanted, but what I'm seeing as well are higher lows on the book. I watched what we did at 225.50. We held that so beautifully. I was like, Adara, if you break below 225.50, you punch short so quickly you can't even breathe. That was a really intense analogy. But we bounced off 225.50. Looks like we're bouncing off 225.50 again. I think that Tesla might try to make a bit of a reversal here. So I'm not getting involved in either direction. If we get back to 226 and we bounce this time, somebody's getting long. Like I said, I'm willing to play these directions in either level. I want to shout out Sean in his sticky note. Sean will have his levels, and he'll tell you what direction they'll go in. But sometimes he flips the style up if the stock provides reason to do so, like what he did in Tesla today. So for me, when I have my levels, I generally like to be like, do I like this level? Why do I like this level? levels. So for me, Tesla, this 226 is a level. That's my verdict on that.
Bang.
But let's see what else we've got going on here. Nvidia is always getting mentioned in the chat because it is the monster, as Sharif has nicknamed it. I don't know. I said the word nickname like that. But Nvidia, I said nicknamed.
I didn't even hear it.
I emphasized the syllables kind of weirdly.
Gotcha.
But yeah, we rejected here off the 90 MA. We've done so a couple times, but we have a slightly higher low. NVDA could be an interesting one to watch. Crowdstrike. I put this in the chat, but just to say out loud as well, I ended up taking a 30-penny hit on my add to this, but I'm still up on the name because I took $1 on the first half of my position. Not looking at P&L, that's just like math. Like I said, I feel like hiding the P&L has been good for me mentally, but you do know when the hits have been taken. Crowdstrike looking kind of similar to Nvidia to me, and that we have higher lows, but clear 90 MA rejections. I am kicking myself a little bit for Crowdstrike because I feel like I crowdstruck out, but thank you for the bang button there, by not looking at these topping tail candles and being like, Adara, take everything out at 235. But it's all good, baby. Generally, this Crowdstrike position was a dream, and I'm proud of how I executed it. So good times there. What is anyone else looking at here? Why is Nvidia not crashing at 103 with a huge red candle? Yeah, I don't know. Nvidia could be, like I said, curly for something higher, not higher, lower. We do have these lower highs, so I think Nvidia, if it comes down, that could be a nice big old crash. Tesla, I see you below that 225.50 I mentioned. You gonna come back and retest? Because if you do, I might join you. Also, guys, get in that. Sorry for cutting.
No,
this is get in the chat and vote. Exclamation point, join space, $, whatever tickers your fancy. How are you doing in Pfizer? And how is that dollar club going?
No, so I wanted to mention something. Like Adara, when she comes back from the big desk and she's coming to set up right over here so we can start trading for the midday. She'll have, I don't know if you have the level 2 or your Tesla up there, but you're like, Tesla.
I do every day.
I'll short you. Come to me, Tesla. And she does all this stuff, and it's great.
Every day I have the Tesla level 2 just permanently up here because I just like to see what it does.
I love it, though.
You know what I mean? If I see movement on the book that I'm not going to see in the chart, I'm like, hey, let's get involved, especially because, as I said, I've had a little bit of a better time. Again, not a perfect time, but a better time here with Tesla since I've started looking at the book more. So yeah, interesting look.
Makes sense.
But yeah, I do coo at it like that.
She threatens it.
I do.
Well, in a nice way though.
Kindly.
She's like, Tesla, I'll short you. Don't even
That's exactly what it is.
Right. Yeah. Shout out to the Katina Man. What's going on over there?
Uber now $1.
The Katina Man's $1 in the money on Uber. Let me guess, 62.44. All right, give me the sticky note, Katina Man. Here we go. I've been past the sticky note. Uber, 64.50 short sale. Breakdown here, look weak. Short sale. Shout out to the Katina Man, printing up a storm. He's $3 in the money on the monster Nvidia as it is tanking up a storm. Look at this on Nvidia. I think we see $100 by the end of the week, dude. It's just, hey. I don't know. Not maybe I want it. Maybe I want it to be there because I want to add. But that's genuinely how I feel. I think the monster Apple, the dead one Apple yesterday, basically disclosing that they are using tensor processing units (TPUs) made by Google. Maybe has the market worried that Nvidia's dominance over these data centers. And AI data centers specifically may be not as dominant as they thought because, I don't know, Apple, they're kind of important. So we'll see if others follow their lead there. All right, let's go back into the Pfizer trade. I'm 5 pennies out of the money on this trade. We're still below the volume weighted average price. Elon's like, yo, bro, don't short my position. Elon, I think you might be right here because we're not getting that VWAP rejection. I also liked the double bottom over here at $3.60. We come up into that area, we reject it. We're not clearing the area by any means, but we're waffling at the area. I've already got my beak wetter in the low 40s to see if we get that kind of... Thank you. If we get that move down. We've been zigging and zagging. I think I'm going to hold on to this position. I like it. We'll see exactly what we get. I'm going to get stopped out if it breaks 71. That's my stop. So if it breaks above this area over here where we're consolidating and holding, then my trade is no longer accurate in my humble opinion. Mark Knight. I'd love to add some Nvidia long term around $90. Look, Mark, I'm not bringing the $100 level because it's nice and round and it's $100. No, I genuinely saw price action, support, formally resistance on Nvidia at the $100. Obviously, it was pre-split, right? Here's what I'm talking about. This double top over here, sorry, what's it called? The pivots are distorting everything. Let me get that out. Here, this level right here, right at this $95, $97 area, right? And the reason I was thinking 100 as well, like I gave the example to Brendo this morning. I'm like, I wanted to add into Caterpillar after I got out in the 360s and 350s. I wanted to add at 300. It didn't come back into 300, even though there was obviously a price action resistance there. You would have assumed it would have come back in to test it, but sometimes the market is so exuberant, it just doesn't make its way back down there. So I'm going to be all eyes on $100. If it comes into 90, I'd love that even more. I think that the actual resistance level is not so much 100 marked, but it's 95. Like, look at these double tops over here. So shout out to you. I hope you get what you need there. And if that's $90, it's $90. Print up a storm and let me know how it goes. Let's see. Mr. Longshorts, gap fill is around 95. Yeah, basically what I was just saying. Shout out to you. But, you know, I feel like, you know, there may be some buyer exuberance. I see 96, says Paula. And again, Paula's absolutely right. We're talking about, you know, nickel and dimes here based on the long-term move of this stock. So for Pfizer, are y'all looking to the downside or upside on the scalps? Lucas Chavez says, I'm looking short at these levels. I'm still not printing. Elon, on the other hand, in the chat is looking long. I don't want to speak for him. I think he is long at these levels. So let me know exactly how you're looking at it, Lucas. Are you looking down or are you looking up? Right now, I see all the Mag 7 names headed to the downside without exception, including the dead one, Apple. They're all in negative territory. Lots and lots and lots of weakness on the day today, Adara.
Hashtag the dead one.
The dead one?
Yeah, so SPY, I was like, oh, I like my whole dollar level shorts on the SPY. So I missed this one on the 541, and that's because it was wiffle waffling, so I was too wiffle waffling. We rejected a couple times. We could get to 541 10s and sell off. Yeah. I could have been a little bit more involved, but it's all good, baby. If we come back to 541 and have a little bit of a rejection, a chop, and a churn, I might get back involved. But I want to talk about Tesla. I mean, people, you could argue I always want to talk about Tesla. That wouldn't be inaccurate. I do like talking about Tesla. As Sharif says, I sit down and I'm like, hey, Tesla, just so you know. There was this ScarJo Rapid, he was in the chat like, oh, was Adara one of the girls in The Shining? Yeah. Hello, Danny. Have you seen The Shining? Like the twins?
I haven't, but like,
oh my gosh, so they go to all the,
scary.
Hello, Danny. It's me like, hello, Tesla. Yeah, oh my gosh, okay, Fabian's doing a scarily accurate version of the kid in The Shining.
Quite good, Fabian.
But yeah, I want to, basically I took this short. I liked it, like I said, whole dollar breaks. We had the 225, we waffled. I got short. We'd already broken back down and retested, right? Which, like I said, is always going to be my impetus. I want to see a retest. We retest. I'm like, okay, cool. We're selling off. I got short, I want to say 99s, 224 99s. We get to 224 90s, then we pop aggressively up into 20. So I got out, lost about 25 pennies on this. Happy I tried it because I saw stuff I liked. Should have managed the risk better. Should have waited for a couple more retests. I'd rather miss the trade than be early because sometimes you have to miss the trade to make the trade. All that good stuff. Tesla, what are you doing at 50s? Because like I said, I like whole dollar and 50-cent levels. I've noticed as well, like I said, Tesla yesterday was doing something crazy every time it would get to 20-cent level. I'm noticing that 20-cent tug of war a little bit less today, though it just gave me that on 224.20. So where we get to those 20s, we hold, we whiffle, we waffle, we break down, try to hold the whole dollar level, and we fail it. So just some stuff I'm noticing from my book reading my Tesla. So yeah, The Shining is a great movie. Shout out to Chelsea Ashley on this. Let's see what's going on here. Nvidia 100 by the end of the day. A lot of people mentioning E-long, says a proper paradox. Yeah, I mean, Tesla could be an E-long for me if we hold on to this 224.50, always on a scalp basis. But like I said, generally I like to see what we do with these whole dollar and half dollar levels for all stocks, but especially anything I'm going to tape scalps, so your SPYs or your TSLAs. What are other people looking at here? If you want to get involved in any stock and you want to have La Big Kahunas, look at it on their show. Get involved in that chat, exclamation point, join space, $, whatever tickers your fancy, because you do have to, this is our new segment brought to you by Real Trading. We want to give back to our viewers, but if you want to vote, you actually do have to be a member. We're not a member, you have to subscribe. So hit that like and subscribe button, and also be sure to check out a little, self-plug here, the week ahead, because you can actually look at that throughout the week to find out what earnings are reporting, what names are reporting, what economic events are happening. I like to give little insights sprinkled in there as well. So check out that week ahead, even during the week as well, to get a little bit of an update on what is going on there. But yeah, shout out, thank you for that button there. Nvidia capitulation, says Sim King. I'm seeing a lot of Nvidia here, but Tesla did come back to retest and reject my 224.50, so I'm going to be keeping all eyes on T to the S to the L to the A. If anyone has any tickers they want me to look at, let me know, because I'm trying to look at some other things as well, but just working on my book scalps right now.
And I want to shout out your week ahead video, guys. It's super important, this type of video, especially in earnings season when there's just so much to trade. Adair organizes the entire thing, what to look for, what to expect in terms of earnings and stuff like that. So I want to shout out Adair. I think it's one of the better videos that we put out there, no question, especially during this earnings season. So much to keep track of. I know that I get lost in the sauce sometimes. Shout out to he is the one. He is Kenobi. The chat. Oh, shout out. There it is. Thank you very much, Fabian. Adara's video.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, there it is. And let me tell you, 2 days worth of editing on this video, Adara. Lots and lots of work.
Shout out to Fabian.
Yeah, absolutely. So shout out. It's a long video. I know. Well, it's 11 minutes. I mean, but 11 minutes in editing world, we know that that's big boy. So shout out to the best production team on YouTube. All right, I got stopped out of my Pfizer trade, so looks like this one's continuing to go up, but Elon, it found a bit of a top here. So if we reject off this level again, I'm going to get in. This is an obvious area of price action resistance. Maybe I should have given myself a little bit more room, but I think I got in a little bit too early there. So I'm going to pack my patience to see if, oh, it is coming down here, Elon. Oh, maybe I should get back in. I'm already in a short on Merck. And this is a good look right now on the Pfizer lift. So we'll get short again here, try to ride this bad boy back down. We'll see if it's just a momentary VWAP pop. I'll put my stop on the top end. So if we make a new high above 75, that's going to be the end of my trade there. Let's go. There we go. All right, so we'll put that one in. And I'm still waiting on Merck. Merck is at the 20 exponential on the 5, and that's why I got short there. We shorted this one earlier at the 10 exponential on the 5, and here it comes. Come down, Merck. Let's go. I'm waiting. Let's go, Mr. Merck, and there it is. Bang! We're printing on this one, Adara. Nicely, 30 pennies in the money here on the Mercked one. Let's go, Mercked one. All the way down.
Let's go, Mercked one.
I don't know why I'm in a good mood. Bang! More profits down.
Sharif, what are you talking about?
Down to the down. What? I don't even know what I'm saying, Adara. Go Pfizer, you little punk. There we go. We'll get more. We'll get more revenge on the Pfizer one. Shout out to the blue pilled company, and they do have the blue pill. I showed you. Remember,
did?
We did. I'll prove it right now.
The Pfizer one.
Pfizer. All right, I'm having a good time, guys. I'm sorry. I'm yelling up a storm. I hope I'm not annoying anybody.
For your enthusiasm.
Yeah, I'm having a good time, Adara. It's not a bad day. It's Tuesday in the middle of the week. Nothing's going on, and it's humid as hell outside. It's humid in here too. So Katina is laughing because he knows what's up. Yeah, you not find it humid in here? It's ridiculously humid in here. Yeah, and outside.
I love the energy. I love everything you guys are doing.
I appreciate you, Katina, man. So very happy with this trade. Let's see what else we're doing now. We're still in the Pfizer short. I want to wet my beak a little bit more. Let's wait at the 40s here, Dare.
Yeah, I'm back in Tesla, surprising probably no one. This is going to be a pretty small position. I just kind of got out about 10 pennies there. I wanted to see us hold 225s, but the bounce we had was a little, to use a Sharifism, anemic. Maybe it needs a shot from Pfizer or Merck. Merck getting Mercked there by Sharif. I want to shout that out. But I love, shout out to the Pfizer one and the Mercked one. Tesla, this is another trade where I should have had more patience with TSLA. Should have waited to see a little bit more. Maybe like take out part, add. I need to work on my patience, even though it is a book scalp and I'm trying to trust my read a little bit more. There was nothing definitively telling me to run for the hills like I did. In fact, the fact we bounced off 224.80s, which was a level I was watching, you should have added Adara. So for shame, Adara. But pat yourself in the back for getting involved. You took a little bit of profit and you're ready to learn, which I think is one of, I'm going to stop talking to myself now. But I think if you could learn a little bit from every trade, that's something I'm working towards. I think that is certainly pretty, huge. Also, AI. I love this. Saying, Sharif, you regularly refer to the big kahunas in the morning and closing shows, but Obi routinely stands in and features on these shows. Can we please confirm that Obi is now a big kahuna? I just noticed in the chat you did confirm, but shout out to Obi, who has now apparently been officially named a big kahuna.
Sorry, dear,
hit you there by Sharif, the professor himself. Wow,
Baby.
Crowdstrike.
Oh, he said he's a lad, not a gent.
Oh, he's a lad, not a gent, apparently. So Crowdstrike breaking here, continuing to the downside. These shorts are crowding in. I would love to see a 9 EMA rejection as an impetus for a short here. I don't think I'm going to get one. Let's see what we do if we come back to 232s, because I did watch that breakdown on the book. Should have gotten involved, but coulda, shoulda, and woulda. The thing to be aware of with Crowdstrike, and that's what I tried to take advantage of when I was involved in this position, Crowdstrike really enjoyed its SSR bounce. It enjoyed its time in the sun. It enjoyed to have a good moment. So I would say with Crowdstrike, be very cognizant of the fact that that thing can fly, because I watched that move up here, and I only got involved kind of in the latter half of that move up. But just be cognizant with these SSR names, you're not always going to get that bounce. But when you do, to shout out our newest big kahuna, oh boy. So yeah, let's be aware of that. Kyle Mitchell-Miller says he's actually looking at Crowdstrike 200 considering the news, or sub 200. Today, we'll have to wait and see today. I mean, it is continuing to sell off, but as I said, that bounce could certainly be worth noting here. Let's take a look at AMD, because AMD, you know, our old pal AMD, like I said, AMD at that 37.40 rejection. I noticed this one as it came to the 9 EMA, still rejecting, just continuing to the downside. I just wanted to give some other tips some love. So shout out to AMD. Tesla looking like it still wants to bounce off that 224.50s. I don't know why this is a level for Tesla, but I want to ask questions. I want to ask Questless. I showed it to Questlove of the Roots because I accidentally just dropped his name there, I guess. But let's see what Tesla does here, 224.50s. This is an area I've been interested in. I'm seeing a lot of mentions of AMD, Nvidia. If anyone wants to look at any other tickers here, either get in the chat and vote for the afternoon segment, exclamation point, join space, $, whatever tickers are fancy, or tag us and let us know, because we want to look at some other tickers for you guys too. I know Sean was long Starbucks, so he's sipping on some profits. Can I guess where you went long, Sean, on Starbucks? Did you get long at 74.95? Oh, did you get long 74.90s?
Uh-oh.
Did you get long 74.85s? 87, so Sean got involved in your low of day here, and Starbucks, he's sipping on some profits in a big venti cup. So good look there. I got too excited about my Starbucks now, so I'm going to have some water. What are you looking at, Sharif? I see, how'd the Pfizer one go?
It went well. Blue-pilled company. We're out of this one. Took about 20 pennies there off the top. I had the right idea. Stopped out top wick. That's frustrating there. Got back in when we saw what we wanted. I mean, I would have rather added at this level ex post facto looking at it now. Why? Because if I'm going to have my stop like 2 pennies above the critical area of resistance, what the hell is the point in that? Of course it's going to get pushed out. That doesn't make any sense to me. So thank you, Katina, man. So I'm going to have to, rethink the stop placement on something like this. I'll journal about this a little bit later.
Aggressive journaling?
Yeah, I like when you say that, because I can just imagine.
Yeah, furiously typing.
You type. Okay.
I type.
You
Yeah,
type.
I should handwrite my journals. I mostly type them because I do them on the go. But yeah, shout out to aggressive journaling.
Yeah, so basically I should have had it somewhere in the mid 80s, above the 80, 82, whatever, something like that, especially since the area that I was really looking at was this area over here, 70 pennies. So this was a mistake on my part for that initial out. I should have been adding rather than removing there. So that's my mistake. Yeah, Elon, hi, Sharif, watch out for that long downtick. I see it, dude. That's why I got out of there. I liked this area specifically, Elon, because we had an area crest here. Former area of resistance becomes support. It's a higher low too, Elon. So the whole point was a VWAP local area rejection. I don't know, I should say at this point. I'm unsure whether we retrace or whether we reclaim some of the pre-market movement that we had in Pfizer today. This was up, by the way, guys. When they released earnings in the pre, it did pop up on the algo spike and then ended up getting sold off. But I got to tell you, this has nothing to do with the intraday trade. I'm very interested on this name. I've been around long enough in the pharmacy business to know that these guys are monstrous heavyweights. It's not always going to be your time in the sun. There's going to be other people's time in the sun as well, their companies, but I just don't think you can keep them down. I think they have a good product pipeline, and we might be getting that oral GLP weight loss drug, and there will be plenty of interest in that because people do not like injecting themselves subcutaneous or otherwise. They do not like it. So I'm keeping an eye on Pfizer. I definitely want to add it to the long term. Shout out to you, Elon. Great trade for you, and I hope you print up a storm. on that side of the screen. Keeping an eye on MRK, another earnings loser today. Didn't do as well as the street was expecting. They did good in some areas, but most areas no. I want to see if we make a new high above 117. If we don't, that'll be a dead cat bounce, and I'll look to take this short below 115.50, an obvious area of now resistance, now support. Previous area resistance, now support. I'm looking at the 1. So MRK trading on the New York down 9.25 at this point. Let's see what else is afoot. I'm unlikely to trade these Mag 7 names. Crowdstrike is getting shellacked. Shellacked, 11% today. This thing is headed back down. Again, if you don't know why, it's not really the outage this time. It's Delta looking to exact revenge. No, they are looking for financial compensation to the tune of about up to $500 million. That can fundamentally influence your quarter. From a balance sheet perspective, that's why everybody is worried, and it sets a precedent. If Delta sues and they get something out of it, a settlement, maybe even a first instance decision in lower court, that could be the floodgates, man. That could be more people coming in, and it could be you're on the hook here, Crowdstrike. You can't just send people gift cards and expect that that's going to be good enough.
Is that what they did?
Yes. So that's not a good look there. Yeah. Anyway, so Crowd in a lot of trouble. And this is not financial advice, but, if you're going to get at a CrowdStrike and you want to be in cybersecurity, where are you going to put your money? Keep your eye on Zscaler, Snow. Those are names as well, Adair.
Yeah, Fortinet too. Fortinet reporting pretty soon, so keep an eye on FTNT. Also, shout out to Dan Emmons, who was saying this right as I was kind of looking at the cues too, so I like the timing of that, because I was like, we see a bit of a curl. And Dan Emmons saying, oh my God, where did this go? Time to buy and cover shorts. Shorts emoji. MQ 18935. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I was seeing a bit of a curl here in the Q. We kind of gave it up. I think for me, as someone trading the TQs, if we bounce off to 6290s, I would like to take that long, and I'm willing to build the position, but we're not seeing that yet. I was going to talk about Tesla because I was like, well, Tesla was like a bet bomb, but it was like, I don't know what that Valley Girl voice was. I liked that 224.50 short, took it short. I noticed a bit of a bounce at 30s, got out 20 pennies, smaller-ish position, I believe. Yeah. So, but then I got out because and I'm happy I got out because we got back to 225s. I would have wanted no smoke in that trade. Look at that bottoming tail candle. Tesla gave you a heck of a fake out, and then it sells all the way back down to 223s. For my purposes, I'm happy with how I scalped it, but I should have had my eyes on that move back down here. So while the rest of the market tries to recover, at least looks like it might consider recovering, Tesla's like, what am I doing? I don't care. Why is the Microsoft store open on my computer? Questions that we have. It's all good though. I've reopened my Tesla trade, or not Tesla trade, just my Tesla chart. So TSLA is still in watch here. But yeah, weirdly, the Microsoft store popped out. I guess Microsoft wants to remind me that it has earnings. I'm going to take that as an omen. So let's pull up Microsoft. This is the same, like, if I have songs in my head, I always try to be like, is there a reason the market is putting this song on my head? Because sometimes you'll have random songs in your head. Like that, I will always go back to when I randomly had Irreplaceable by Beyonce in my head. A song I had not heard in years up to that point. And that was the day that the Chewy got the pop instead of GME, and GME sold off. So I was like, oh, the market's trying to tell GME that it's replaceable. Okay, so I don't know, like probably weird, probably tinfoil hat-ish a little bit, but Microsoft, I wanted to pull that up because that was reminding me, we had, that 426 level I liked yesterday. I did like this, I played it incorrectly, but I like this 426, Microsoft 246 would be a whole other story. Look at that bounce, we come up here, we reject, then we quadrunk, continue to make lower highs, lower lows. I'd like to see what we do here if we can recover at this 420 area, if Microsoft can get a little bit of smoke to the upside. That reminds me, you should look at Tilray here for earnings. I can look at Microsoft in the daily chart a bit later. I just wanted to pull up the intraday for right now as we continue to see these stocks adjust to the quadunking of it all. Tilray, bit of a bear flag I see on Tilray. I know we're up on the day, but look at this big move down we have and this consolidation below the 90 MA. It's also coming in around the $2 level, so some of these whole dollar levels can be key, especially for a small capper like our pal Tilray. And B, we have that 204 area, which was a little bit of resistance in the pre that we then come to find is a little bit of a top of this potential flag. I don't know how this is going to resolve. Generally, bear flags resolve to the downside, but also generally bear flags form when we're down to the day, and Tilray is not. So we'll have to see if we push lower or if we come bounce here off the 90 EMA. I'm seeing a lot of confluence with this 204 and this 90 EMA with this bear flag. So let's see how that resolves. Shout out to James Knapp. Your last name, I relate to on a personal level as someone who naps a lot. But $10 super chat, thank you so much. Let's look at on.
I got it.
Yeah, let's turn on that on chart. Shout out to Sharif, who's got that one ready to go.
All right, here we go. This is a great name. Obviously, they reported yesterday they did better. They really focus on automotive, microchips, as well as some other industries. Here's the look. So the reason that I loaded up the 10 minutes, I don't have a resistance level, support level to defend right now until we get to basically 70. Right, there are some support levels over here at 71 from the other day. So I loaded up the fibs. I said, all right, the breakout area was clearly 70. That's where we closed off the day prior to earnings. And then the top of the earnings pump yesterday was 80 bucks. So I drew fibs from 70 to 80. I'm like, all right, where are we hanging out here in terms of fib retracements? With 80 being that zero, or 100, and 70 being that 100 or 0, depending on where you're drawing from. So we're below 50% retracement right now. So we broke 75. We're at that 73.82. That's where 61.8% retracement is. Honestly, there is really nothing here price action-wise unless you look all the way back here, and there's so much zig and zag. It's going to be about you choosing which level you want to take into account over it, because there's so many moves on the way down. That's why I chose fibs. I want to see if it holds above 61.8. We're not seeing anything to confirm that in the trend yet, though, Nap, because we're continuing to put in lower highs and lower lows, save and except for these 3 candles over here. It looks like we may have found, at least for the last 20 minutes, because this one started at 11:30, it's now 12:01. We have found a bit of a bottom at around 74 bucks, a little bit higher than 74 bucks. Technically on the day, 74.16. We still haven't, though, closed above the 10 exponential on the 10 at least. Let's see the 5. Have we retaken the 5? No. It's been one rejection after another on the 5-minute with respect to the 10 exponential. And so, I mean, if we get a claim of that level and we curl up above and we show 74 is a good support level, then sure, get long. You could here, this is this is not my type of trade. You could get in here and put your stop below 74. You're going to have to risk 36 or 35 or wherever pennies you're going to get in. But personally, I would want to see confirmation that this thing is going to actually trend up. Otherwise, look to get short. Look for a 74 flat bottom break, because it is clearly defending at 74. Somebody's buying up a storm here on semi at around 74 bucks. Again, at least for the last 25 minutes or so. We're in the 5th candle right now of the $74 hold, or 74 thereabouts on semi. So that is the look there. Let's have a look at some of the other names we've been trading. MRK. So I mentioned about this one. This is coming back into the 20 exponential on the 5. I shorted at the 10. We got some out. I shorted at the 20. We got some out. But every single subsequent candle has a bit of a higher low than its predecessor. We haven't necessarily always been getting higher highs, though. So I want to see what we do at this 117 area. We had a bit of a double top there that breached the 20 exponential. We got into double 8s or low 80s. We're at 50s now. Let's see if we can weasel our way through 117. If we do, I think there's a good chance we at least retrace in a VWAP. But I'm not going to guess. I need proof. I need confirmation. So we're going to keep an eye on this one, waffling a little bit over here in between 2 moving averages at the 10 and the 20. Bit of a consolidation area happening at around 116.75 to the upside and around 115.5 to the downside. MRK, it's a $100 some odd name, earnings loser this morning. Not a good look for them as they continue to spend. Pimpy, is that you, Pimpy? 199 super chat. Take a look at CNSP. Why did it dump? Absolutely, Pimpy. We'll have a look at that for you in a second.
You're really liking this name, aren't you?
Absolutely, Adair. Can you tell?
I can, a little bit.
All right, let's load up CNSP over here for our friend Pimpy. All right. Whoa. Dang. Okay, I didn't have eyes on this because it's obviously sub $1. My scanner filters out everything 85 pennies or less. Let me tell you why CNSP is moving down. Here it is. Well, apparently it was trading higher. And was it? Yeah, it started out the day green. Now it's going Redsville. So this started at $1.13, got into about $1.70 and change, and it's been down and to the right since then. So what's the reason this thing is moving? CN shares are trading higher after the company announced it entered into an exclusive license agreement with Crowdstrike Biosciences. All right, so why is that bad? Let's see what else. Here expands. CNS Pharmaceutical expands pipeline with in-license of late-stage novel potential blood-brain barrier permeable. Well, bro, what is all this? Biotech for treatment of brain malignancies. All right, so it's brain cancer. All it needed to say was brain cancer, which is obviously a noble pursuit, and you always want to pound the desk for these type of companies, assuming that they are legitimate. So I don't know why it's selling off, brother, but the headline was positive, and now it's an absolute tankville. CNSP, I'll give you the details on it if you're interested. Here it is. The market cap, it's larger. It's about $1 billion, even with that big move down. It's traded about 38.5 million shares on the day, and the float is small, 1.4 million shares. That is quite small. Let's find out what the short float is on CNSP. All right, so it has a decent short float, nothing to write home about. 5.84% of the float is shorted there. So we'll keep an eye on this one, but it's just absolutely tanking. Not a good look. Let's zoom out a little bit over here, see what the daily's been like on this bad boy. Well, it's been trying its best to hold $1 to try to stay in compliance. And it did have a 50-to-1 split over here. Not sure why I did that. Is that a reverse split? No, it's 1 to 50. I don't get that. Anyway, I'm not sure, brother, but the headline is positive. Not so much anymore there.
Yeah, it's been an interesting little look there for that name, that is for sure. Shout out to Big Pampin over there, Pimpy in the chat.
Big Pimpy.
Also, Tesla, I have a theory that I have a feeling I will probably have to walk back in about 2 minutes, but I think Tesla's trying to make a bottom at 223. And I say this as someone who watched the book aggressively, as we had that 223 area. We get to 223, and we break below it on the book for like half a second, or low of day here, 222.86. We broke below exciting 14 pennies here on this TSLA, and then we come right back to 223, and we keep bouncing. Every time I was like, 223 short, 223 short, did not press because the book was not giving you anything to press on. We would bounce. So I see Tesla as a bit of a potential bounce here at this 223 area. That being said, what a topping tail candle we're getting here right now. If we can keep bouncing off that 223.25, that was a bit of an area of resistance support flip-flop. Even 30s and 40s, those are kind of the areas I'm watching for TSLA. To be clear, I'll trade it in either direction if I see something that affirms my outlook on the book. But right now, we're keeping eyes on it. Also, because I saw some comments. Just to clarify, guys, not much coffee. It's all natural energy for me. I apologize. I'm talking a little bit faster today, but that's because these markets have been so exciting. And you gotta have that energy. You gotta have that confidence. That I'm trying to think of a Sharif one.
I'm just happy all the time.
The sheerage. Yeah. He's just happy all the time.
Remember you called me Wiz Sharifa last week?
Yeah. I can call you Wiz Sharif. We'll call you Wiz Sharif. No A there, guys.
You didn't know. It's all good.
I did not know. But shout out to Sharif. Whatever nickname we give him, he is the professor. He's dropping outlines. He's dropping knowledge.
Hey.
We're all dropping confidence and confidence. And actually, Neil's ready, so I will wait to look at Google and some other names here. But shout out to Darwin for putting a Google story in the chat. Right now, though, we're going to have to search. We don't have to search. Neil's right there. Let's take a look at Neil, guys.
Get it, Neil?
Search? Yeah, let's search for the lesson. No, we're not going to search for the lesson of the day. What you are searching for in the market, see how we can segue things, is opportunities. Like what is the best opportunity in the market? Probably something that's moving on that day. I'm going to wager if a stock is flat for the entire session and doesn't move, unless you're a market maker, maybe you can make something out of that. But that's not what you're looking for as a trader. There's an old adage out there, if you want to predict what the market is going to do tomorrow, just look at what it did today. And then more times, often than not, you're going to end up being correct. So in that vein, sometimes look for something that made an outsized move already. So what moved yesterday? What can you do with that today? And a couple of examples of that, like post a gigantic move, you might not be looking at them, but then when something insane happens, like over here to my chart on Dexcom, we talked about this the other day. This is a $100 stock on earnings, well, 108 actually, went down 40%. So you know it's very unlikely that you're just going to go down 40% and take it in stride, right? Clearly, some things went wrong with their report. You don't have to predict or read the report to understand that. You're now moving well outside of the range. And then for at least a few sessions, you're very likely to get a little bit more volatility than normal. So if you see going into earnings, 110 into 112 half, 113, kind of like that was the bigger range day before, $2.50 on a $100 stock, a little bit less than that the day before. And you can see there's not a lot of relative movement. In the days since, you have top to bottom about 70, 71 in here, down to 62. That's well over 10%. The day after that, you're going to be down at 62 with the 69 top. Again, that's going to be over a 10% move. Even today, in context, it only moved a couple of dollars, but up when the market is down. So we talk about these earnings plays or catalyst plays on the day because that's when they're flying around. But day 2, day 3, those are still going to be out there for you. And what you just simply look for when you have a massive gap to be filled, keep it simple. If they sold it off at $71 and it was a bad report and it made a bottom that day, able to hold and close down about 63, what happened the following day? Did it make a fresh low? No, it was SSR, short sell restricted, tried to go through the bottom of that 63 and it ran to the upside. Today, weekday in the market, maybe you want to look at that same gap fill. For sure, if you like the continuation long, great. I probably would say, look until you break this top at 71. You're looking for fades up there, knowing that you're likely to get a decent sized move. Like the market, this was going counter trend to the market, but it got up to that one spot on a big parabolic move and then just glides itself to the downside. And all you really had to do in this situation is on day 2, it held a double bottom. There's going to be extra volume and volatility. On day 3, it holds the day 1 top for a bit of a short trade. Whether you're able to do something in the middle, that's up to you. But you're probably not looking at Dexcom otherwise, which is perfectly fine. We said the same thing about Crowdstrike the day after the outage. 2 days after the outage, heck, even today, Crowdstrike continues to go down. I'm going to give you another example of this because it was like an outlier event here on a stock that almost nobody probably would trade. So this is kind of the reason why I wanted to get to this was because of what happened on Tellurian. So just to give you a bit of a background here, Tellurian's a penny stock, gas pipeline play that is being bought for cash at $1. So you're not expecting a ton of movement, but it was giving you some sort of free money trades, 93.5 cents to like 95, 96. Probably not going to break $1 because the deal has to take a while to close. So you were just holding the line here right around 94 until a couple of days ago, the gap just opened up. It lost a bid. It was a bit of a technical break. And then all you know what broke loose when the market makers decided to just jump off the bid. That's a real wick. It got to 82 cents. It came right back once everyone realized, hey, if they're being bought for cash, maybe it's not a bad deal getting it in the 80s if you're going to be able to turn this into $1 at the end of the year or the beginning of next year. So you see it come right back in. But it's not that. It's what happened the next couple of sessions. Now remember, this is a stock that was doing only a couple cents worth of range on a penny stock, which is 2%. So you got to think about that for a second. A 2% range, pretty decent on the stock, and that's what it was normally giving you. And it was taking all day to maybe eke some of that out, and sometimes even longer than that. The day after, it closed at like 92.5 cents. The day after, same top, and for 2 days it's the exact same top, and look at how often it's giving you that scalp range. Because there's extra volatility on day 2. That's all it is. It's no longer doing this. It's now doing a little bit more. And that's the day that you want to hit it. Maybe you get a little extra in day 3. See, it held 90 all day. You get the 90 bottom in the pre-market and you're able to catch that 2.5 points to the upside. That's what it's all about. That day 2 type play on a day where there weren't a lot of catalysts because everyone's waiting for AMD, Microsoft, Dexcom gave you opportunities. I'm just giving you I started off with Tel because that's what made me think about this yesterday. And then I'll fast forward you to one potentially for tomorrow. NVAX is down 28%. Is it over right here, right now, on Novavax? right down into support, massive support level for Novavax. You better believe tomorrow I'm going to be looking at this same stock. A day after it's down 28% and it's going to be short sell restricted again? Absolutely. So you're looking for the catalyst, but don't just give up on it after the first day of that extra volume. If it holds a key level, like if this, I'm in the long in front of 1160, but if that holds from the daily and here, and we have the same bottom tomorrow, then there's a trade, I think, on Novavax, because I'm expecting it not to do the same volume, but just more than normal. And when that happens, there's going to be trading opportunities out there. Earnings season does mean you're going to have lots in the news every single day. So yes, you've got a lot of big cap tech names that are going to report and maybe steal the thunder. But on a day where there weren't a lot of catalysts, day 2, day 3 plays in play, Dexum was a fantastic one. The stock got absolutely trounced, but it came right back in to its gap resistance and gave you a trade 2 days after the earnings. Do not sleep on day 2, day 3 plays when you've got a massive move. Expect that things like Novavax and Crowdstrike today are not done just because we get into tomorrow. That's your lesson of the day. Don't be afraid to run it on back to what worked the day before if there's extra volume on it. So that's your lesson of the day, everybody. Good luck in trading and go Novavax to the upside maybe. We'll see.
Thank you very much, Neil. I was going to call him Neilage, obviously, because he's got so much mileage and experience that we got to call him Neilage. Yeah, Neilage is mileage because he's been trading up a storm for many years. Thank you very much, Neil. Eloquent, awesome, and informative as always. Neil Roberts, every day around that noon hour. Make sure you are catching him if you want excellent lessons. So shout out to him. Just took Apple there as a long. We're going to give this one a very tight window. Wet my beak for 10 pennies. If this runs into the 20 exponential, it's been above the 5 for the 10, for a hot minute. It could be just a fake out breakout through the 10, but if it's not, I want to ride it at least into the 20. That takes me about to 217 and a half, 217, high 40s. You can see the resistance over here. You don't need to look at the exponential moving averages. There's ample amount of resistance. So we'll took this one long, but I still feeling very, very bearish on this market. And the reason I'm feeling bearish is because the future is still looking awfully bearish. It can't even manage a breach of the 10 on the 5. That's how weak this is. There has been no breach of the 10 exponential on the 5-minute chart for the NQ September contract all dang morning. Okay, back 10:15, we breached it super quick on a wick basis, but that was it. We never closed above it. So the weakness is very palpable right now. Now, we did form a bit of a base at 19, wow, we're back into 18. 18.9 and a quarter, and we're trying to weasel our way into that key area of technical resistance at 18.975. That's where we held up originally on that bottom dip. And now it's where we're curling back up to. This candle here at 1205 tried to get back into there and rejected. But the candle subsequent to that was a higher low, but still below the 10 exponential. So I feel bearish. Now, I know there's some of you in the chat that are saying, look, we're holding at key areas of technical support on the future. It's time to look long, yada, yada, yada. I get it. I respect everything you guys are saying, but I can just only tell you how I feel. I'm basically assuming you guys are looking at this level over here. Back on July 25th, we did bottom in and around this level. What time was that? That was 15. Okay, so that's around 3 o'clock. Oh, no, it's 4 o'clock because this is Central Time. Excuse me, 15, that's not, yeah, I'll get it right. Anyway, so I kind of feel still a little bit bearish at this level until I see something different. And there we go, rejecting again off the 10 exponential in the futures. I don't believe in this move. So I get stopped out of that Apple long there for a very small loss on that last little bit. This is a short the pop kind of dang day. You just feel that with some of these Mag 7 names. So we'll keep tabs on that, Adair.
Yeah, I've talked about Tesla because Sharif can testify that I was sitting here and I go to the bathroom and I say, Tesla, can you wait? I know you want to have your breakdown, but can you wait to have your breakdown without me? And Tesla was like, no, Adara, I cannot. I want to talk about Tesla. I had 2 L's, putting the L in TSLA twice. To be clear, small hits, and I want to talk about them because I stand by the thesis of both trades. I think I played them incorrectly, specifically the most recent one. So first, like I said, I liked how Tesla was holding those 30s. I said, I'll go long if I continue to see that hold. I did in fact go long. I got involved decent size 35s. I was willing to take out half at 55s. We get to 51s, come back down. I'm like, Tesla, let me out. Don't see what I'm liking on the book. I'm like pounding to get out. No, I'm joking. I got out like, lost about 15 pennies on that. Then I see this short. And I've noticed, and I've said this a lot, I have had tendencies so many times here in the market, especially when I'm trading on the book, areas that I think are support or resistance end up being the opposite, because support and resistance can flip. You see something one time and it flips, and that's not just on the chart, that can be on the book as well. I've noticed in my, as I try to learn book scalping, right, and book trading. And so TSLA on this order book here, we went from holding support at that 223.35 to going where we could not break above the 223.35. I should have just not gone to the washroom, honestly. I should have just taken that trade. You would have had 60 pennies as you have that breakdown into 220, what is this, 223? Oh my gosh, you could have even gotten 222.50s, but that's not the point. I went to the washroom. Clearly I took an L. Clearly I thought that me talking to Tesla and asking it to not break down until I was back from the washroom was a valid strategy. Alas, it was not. Surprising to probably no one. That did not work. But I tried to take the short again because I noticed we kind of retested that 223 a couple times. I was like, okay, Dara, try it, acknowledge it could be a bit chasey, take a really, really small position. Didn't work. I noticed we were flipping from resistance to support on the 223, so I got out. It's all good, lost about I think 8 pennies, 10 pennies on this. So again, small hit, but I don't want to keep giving up on this Tesla. I had some good trades on this earlier. I don't want to throw out the baby with the bathwater. Pardon that kind of not fun phrase. I think Tesla's trying to curl higher. If we keep bouncing off 223s, I will keep scalping it. Smaller positions, willing to build as the scalp grows, which I know is kind of counterintuitive to scalping, but we'll see what we do here. All the names I'm looking at, I don't really have levels coming in as of right now, except for this Tesla waffling around that 223 area. Crowdstrike, near lows of days. SPY, near lows of days. I'm looking for something here in this market, but I don't want to be forcing myself into a trade. If something comes up, I'll get involved. Yeah, good times. I'm going to stop ranting now.
No worries. Yeah. Well, I don't think you were ranting. I think you were spitting hot lines.
Thank you.
All right, so I'm short on the dead one right now, AAPL. We're trying to ride this one down again. I'm going to give this to 217.25. Basically, if it makes a new high above this level, then I know that I have the wrong idea. So we're going to pack our patience there. Basically, the idea is to look for this curl back down, a dead cat bounce through the 10 exponential on the 5. Let's see if we get printed, and bang, we get printed again. Nice. So we'll see if we can get a little bit more down over here. 216.33 LOD on AAPL. Look to basically cover at the $0.25. We'll hang out at double sevens. Lucky number double sevens is also the area top over here. So back into the 81 we go. Let's see if we can get a print in the 70s, and bang, yes. All the way down we go again on the dead one Apple. Obviously not good for the long-term account, but I'm not thinking about that right now. So happy with this trade. Looking to wet my beak on some more. If we can get something around 216.33, I'll look to go long for an area defend. There is an interesting area of defend, even though it's 216.33. That is the technical low of the day. I am very interested at this $0.50 level because we had a lot of hold up here, and this was a quick wick, and we reclaimed that. So the $0.50 here is quite telling. And we're only about 30 pennies away from that. So if we do dip into that $0.50, 216.50, maybe there's a quick scalp that could be had just off that quick level there. We'll see if we make newer lows, but it's been all sorts of weakness right now for the Mag 7. Nobody's excluded. And this is why I said I do not feel good about the future. Look at the future. It just printed a newer low, 18,914. I think we are probably going to touch 18.9. We'll see. I mean, that is a big drop down. Today we had a high of 319. Now we're talking about touching 18.9. So yeah, there you go. 420 points just like that. Super quick on the NQ September contract. All sorts of weakness. No doubt about it. Everything on the way down. There is no Mag 7 name that's that's being spared from this down move. Right, everything chart wise. The worst faring on the day is Nvidia, 6.57% in negative land. Second worst, the Cybertruck, 4.25%, 4.33%. The best on the day has been goggles, I'm assuming because Apple said they're buying their TPUs, so there might be a bit of a tailwind there. Third or second best on the day is Apple up down 0.65, and then really Meta at that point as well. And anything come out yesterday from Zuck and what's his name? Jensen?
Yeah, Jensen.
Anything interesting come out of that?
Yeah, so I didn't see anything major from Zuck and Jenny. I know, I just called him that, sorry guys. He's Jenny from the block. But we have Zuckerberg. We did have that announcement with Meta. They had their AI chat bot or something, so you can make your own AI bots now.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Personalized AI bots. Didn't put in the watch list today because Meta wasn't really doing anything.
Yours would be punning up a storm. Man.
Oh, mine would be punning up a storm. I don't know.
Can you make one once they're available so that we can see if it puns or not? Like, let's find out.
Don't tempt me, Sharif. I will make one. I don't know what I'm going to do with it or name it, but I want to make one. But yeah, so again, definitely read more about that because I'm just giving like the snippet of what I remember of that story. But yeah, stock didn't react too much to that, but that was the main thing I saw. I don't know if that came out though during the conference. I saw it came out around 6 p.m. We know that they were speaking at 6 p.m. Eastern time in their fireside chat. But yeah, that is my one update. I would say I want to look more into that. I want to watch the chat. I have not watched it yet. But yeah, I will. I digress, La. How is that going?
Oh, it's yeah. Well, I wasn't in Tesla. I was in Apple. We covered. Yeah, all good. I knew your mind was. You were thinking of something else. So there we go. So we covered there. Now Apple finding a bit of a, I guess, bounce in this area. We'll see. I mean, the levels that I like are 216.50 on Apple, and then essentially the 20 exponential on the 5, which is 217 and a third. If we come into 217 and a third, I'm not going to have a resting order to go short at the 20 exponential. I want to see how it trades at that level. But it was the first breach of the 10 exponential, this area that I got short over here. Other than that, we haven't breached the 10 exponential on the day. That was the first time. All right, so that's enough of the Mag 7. I think, you know, we've talked about them plenty as of late. Let's look at some other names because these other names continue to bleed as well, guys. Crowdstrike continues to go down. This thing knows no limit, I guess, here. Where the hell are we in terms of down on the day? We're 12, essentially right now, we're 12 and a third % down on Crowdstrike. So let's load up this chart. And now we need to find where the bleeding could possibly end. Here's the 4-hour look. We're going to have to go, no, we won't actually. Here is the 4-hour look. Okay. So this area over here is of interest to me. Why? Because this is a gap right here. And you can tell based on the volume that this is an earnings day. Okay, now we found something, I think, over here. So this earnings day is going to be quite telling. This is a 215 top. 215 looks like top there on CrowdStrike. This takes us all the way back to November of last year. But this is the last time we were at these prices on CrowdStrike. Right now we're trading at 226. So this is about $10 lower than we are right now. And this is an earnings day. I don't even need to look on the calendar. I can just tell you by the volume and the gap up. If I was to remove pre-market action, this would likely gap. So let's move back now into current action. Oh, so there's really nothing here from where we are, 226 until 215. This is very interesting because if that level holds, this could be a nice little swing trade that I could take in my personal account there for a 10 banger or something like that. So this, because CrowdStrike's continuing to bleed. And I want to show you guys something too. I think I showed it to you on the daily because we're talking up a storm about gaps. And let me remove pre-market action because you're going to see the mother of all exhaustion gaps or initiation gaps, depending on how you're looking at it. Let me remove pre-market action over here. Show pre-market data. Here it is. Removed. There you go. Look at this monster gap. Look at the size of this gap. Now, this, in my humble opinion, is the exhaustion gap. Why? Because we get up there and then within a period of days, we fill the gap quite quickly, okay? And then this gap over here makes a huge move down. And you can tell, just compare these gaps. The gap over here on the way up and then the gap initiating that move down. We gapped basically 345 and the next day we dropped all the way into 288. Obviously, that is not the gap size. That's just the distance from the closing print to the opening print the subsequent day. But I would say that this is maybe an initiation gap. Oof, that is not good. That is not good for crowd. Anyway, 215 looks like is that local area of support on the daily. We are, though, take your pick about which one we want to reject. It's either the 20 period or the 10 period here that we're rejecting on the day. A nice looking green candle coming in right into the 10 exponential on the 5, 228 and a fifth. Let's see if this gets breached. If it doesn't, that 229 and 2/3, that's where the 10 exponential is hanging out. See if we can get something off that. Let's keep looking over here. Merck absolutely continuing to trend down. Yeah, it's getting merked. Exactly. You may be inclined to use the moving averages like I did on this, and I did okay with it, but in my estimation, it looks like it's a price action resistance, 116.5. That's where we bottomed out, double bottom over there. We come back into that 116.5, 117 area. We reject. We do it again with these two candles, and we start making lower highs and lower lows for that curl back down. So MRK doesn't look like it's done, maybe bleeding on the day as it reels from that earnings loss. High cost, crappy product pipeline, lots of different things going awry there. Pfizer still, very much at these levels. I don't know how you're trading this, Elon, but if we get that break above that 30.75 there on PFE, this would be a higher low and a higher high. So, and this is not a bad earnings report either. We know that for a fact that this was decent. And we know that there's a bit of a tailwind with that GLP-1 coming in, oral GLP-1. So let me know how you're looking at this, Elon, because we held this 30, 40 area, $30.40 area. Now we're curling back up to VWAP at around 60 pennies, though, with that high at around 75. So PFE still in play right now, dear.
Yeah, sorry, give me a moment here. Wow. Yeah, I want to shout out Sharif for his trade there on the Merck one earlier and the Pfizer one as well. Those two pharma names going hand in hand there. Basically, I have some stuff I want to talk about. Clearly, I need to be implementing the tired trading rules a little bit earlier than 1 p.m. as of today because this happened. Okay, I want to talk about this here on Tesla. If it'll let me leave. Come on, Tesla. Hello, Tesla. Okay, this has not been the vibe here on TSLA, but I want to talk about it. Basically, I got short at. Okay, Tesla, come on now. Why? I just need to wait for Tesla to let me out so I can talk about why this trade went away. Wow, this is getting deeply frustrating here.
Over?
No, it's okay. It's just, it's not, I need this thing to just let me out. So there we go. We're out of TSLA. I want to talk about this. I got short initially at 221.50, and in retrospect, this is such a tired trade. My Lord, Adara, I got involved. I saw that we had the rejection, but I should have waited to short it if I wanted to short it at 222s. Didn't do that, small position, whatever. Then I took a slightly larger position here because I saw we were having higher lows here on the book as we led it to the 222 breakout. I wanted that smoke. We got above 222. We came, and then we made another higher low in the book at 221.95. I got in, slightly larger position. Did not go okay. We had kind of that move down there in the market, and Tesla felt that, and then Tesla would just not let me leave. So good times there on that here Cybertruck. Keeping an eye out, staying positive. You have to. And this is what I said. This is why the whole purpose of the tired trading rules, because that's how you get a little bit chopped up, right? So I want to be cognizant, just waiting to look at levels I like on stocks I love. Happy I tried the Tesla trade. I don't think my head was in the game, so shout out to High School Musical. Got to get your head in the game there. So shout out to Fugazi Bear for that 199 super chat about Crowdstrike short. Right now, I think Crowdstrike could be trying to bounce at 228s with these higher lows. Potential SSR play. But I'm going to be sipping some coffee before I do any SSR playing because as San Telmo BA says, the Kudun King is real.
Yes.
But yeah, so are lessons.
All right, I just want to mention ISPO super quick before we get to the lesson. This is a small cap gapper, I believe, $57 million market cap, guys. This bad boy right here, it's traded about 21 million shares on the day, and the float is a gnarly 2.7 million shares. Let's check the short float super quick over here, and then I'm going to look at the price action, and then we'll do the lesson du jour. ISPO, 10% of the float is shorted. Decent. That's a good look. It's not the biggest we've ever seen, but it's something definitely we can take into account. Look, this is a runner from yesterday. This moved for whatever reason there at 220. It halted for 10 minutes. I can see that there, and then it zigged and zagged, but it did continue to trade in the aftermarket into 8 o'clock, essentially closing out at highs. Then 4 a.m. this morning came. We didn't really give up much of the gains. We consolidated, zig and zag, then the bell rung, and we are doing quite well. Look at this double bottom over here at the volume weighted average price at 750. We're continuing to weasel our way up. There are multiple topping tail candles. So what does that tell me? There is a whole bunch of shorting in at these levels, but right now the buyers are winning because we're making higher highs. That's very, very interesting here. The range per candle is going to be quite wide. That's going to have to influence your stop placement because look at the range per candle. This is the 5-minute look, and it's quite rangy on an $8 name. I mean, 9.20 here, 8.30 there. It's $1. You know, that's a lot. Anyway, so this looks really good. Keep an eye out for it, though. I'm looking at the spread right now. It's about 10 pennies. Not bad, but definitely not what you want to see, certainly on an $8, $9 name. ISPO absolutely moving to the high side here. Let's see if it can take 9 on a closing basis. Thought I'd give that to everybody who likes these small cap gappers. All right. Continuation gaps, AKA runaway gaps. The topic du jour. Guys, du jour means of the day in French because, you know, we're Canadian over here, Dara. We can drop some French every now and again. All right, traders, today we're focusing on continuation gaps, also known as runaway gaps. These gaps often signal, a strong continuation of the existing trend. So unlike initiation gaps that start the trend, unlike exhaustion gaps that essentially end the trend, continuation gaps show that the trend still has legs and it's quite bullish or bearish depending on whether we're going long or short. So understanding these continuation gaps. A continuation gap or runaway gap is a gap in the price chart that occurs within a trending market. Unlike breakaway gaps, which often signal the start of a new trend, continuation gaps reinforce the existing trend. So here are all the different types of gaps we've learned so far. Exhaustion gaps end the trend. Breakaway gaps start the trend, or you can call them initiation gaps, breakaway gaps, or synonyms. And then continuation gaps or runaway gaps, again, synonyms, are going to be found somewhere in the middle of the trend, reinforcing the direction that was already in play. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. And here it is, you know, kind of IRL. We're trending up, as you can see, higher highs, higher lows, a bunch of green candles. Then boom, something comes up overnight that the market loves, eats it up, and then we're gapping up bigly the next day. And then we continue up and to the right. That's the point. So we're already in a trend. We gap up, and then we continue the trend. We can have some pullbacks before we continue, but ultimately you need to see that trend continuation, and you do not want to see a gap fill here. We're going to talk about that in a second. This is the bearish look. We're trending down. We have rounded top. Shout out to the NOS boss who loves rounded top. Shout out to Big Spile who loves rounded bottoms. So shout out to him. He's not in the chat today, but we're going to shout him out anyway, Daryl. Yeah, and I know somebody else likes rounded bottoms. Shout out to Neil. All right. I don't know. I didn't see your left hand on the bang button or anything like that.
What was that?
No, I saw stuff. All right, so this is a continuation gap. This is obviously a bearish view. So some of the characteristics of these continuation gaps, let's talk about size. This can be a little bit of a bamboozler for as a characteristic because they come in various types and sizes. But what you should really understand is they should be bigger than common gaps and they shouldn't get filled. Timing. They typically occur either after a short period of consolidation or a pullback within a larger trend. So if you're up and to the right, obviously healthy trends have pullbacks, minor pullbacks on the way up. And if you come out of that pullback or you come out of consolidation area, totally fine. Volume. Increasing trading volume often accompanies these continuation/runaway gaps, indicating that there is continued strong buying or selling pressure. And that's what we want to see because these are supposed to be indicative of the continuation of the trend. And price action. The price usually continues to move in the direction of the gap, reinforcing the idea that the trend will continue. And the reason I included this bad boy over here is not to show you the breakaway gap or anything else, but I want to show you that runaway gaps / continuation gaps can occur multiple times within the existing trend. So for prolonged trends, for example, what's a prolonged trend that we can have? Yeah, look at Nvidia, for example. I'm sure there's going to be multiple continuation gaps. I'll look while Adara takes over to see if that actually is the case. But the point is to tell you that there's not just one of these ones like an initiation gap or a breakaway gap or an exhaustion gap where you only typically see one. Runaway gaps you can see multiple times within the actual trend. And this is what it looks like coming out of a nice little move up. You were consolidating, you dropped down, looks like you found support at 125, up and to the right we go, and boom, We pop up and we continue up here. This is on the dead one Apple, back when it was 155. Wow. I wonder if that's pre-split. No, that's February 2023. Yeah, Dara. Yeah. I have a little bit. Anyway, I'm not going to talk about my average price, but fine. Why do continuation gaps occur? So I'm not asking you, Ram. Take it easy. I love Ram, man. She always like shoving herself.
She takes audience and / production participation to a whole other level in a way that we just love over here.
Absolutely.
Shout out to Ramin.
Ram. All right, so why do they occur? So increased investor interest, that we know for a fact. So a surge in buying pressure can quickly push prices away from these recent levels, creating a gap on what we know as a price chart. But there can also be obviously news events, catalysts that come out overnight, economic different numbers, like we have NFP coming out on Friday. We got the Fed decision tomorrow, widely expected to be a hold. These type of things can obviously have the effect of gapping on these individual names as they have overall market effect. And then there's technical factors that can cause them as well. Like if you're aggressively oversold or aggressively overbought, that could trigger on multiple people's scanners and have a whole lot of buying or selling interest come in. That could cause gaps. Less likely to be this one though, okay? Just my opinion. So how do you trade them, right? We're gonna talk about two different types of trades for these continuation gap. One is gonna be a pullback trade and one's gonna be a breakout trade. Let's start with the pullback trade. So you're waiting for that gap to initiate. And what you wanna see is it to come back into that level of support, specifically the breakout area for the gap. You don't wanna see that area get filled, but you wanna see it hold, right? Or generally come back into that area. It doesn't have to be exactly. So what you're doing here is you're waiting for a pullback to the gap, which can provide you a more favorable entry point. You're going to be looking to identify key areas of support and resistance. So after the gap, the previous support level often becomes resistance and vice versa. We know that from technical analysis. A pullback to these levels can definitely offer you a good entry point. And if it doesn't come back into those levels, like say it broke out of 100 and it gapped up to 120, maybe it comes back to 110. So where is that? You could use fibs for that as well. So if you don't have that entire move back down into 100, for example, use fibs from the 100 to 120 to gauge what the retracement is. So using Fibonacci retracement levels can help identify potential support and resistance areas within the pullback, right? For example, a pullback to 38.2 or 50%, you don't really want to see 61.8, but maybe that one comes in. These retracement levels might be suitable for an entry point. And here's what I'm talking about there. We get the initiation gap here. You can see that because there was a clear area of support. We gap up. We don't fill the gap. We continue to move up. Then look at this. We get a runaway gap, but lo and behold, we don't just continue from the high of the gap candle all the way up into the right. No, we have a couple, oh, my monitor went out again. We have a couple of like red kind of, or candles of indecision that basically hold this area of technical support. So this is where you'd want to get in. And personally, I would have my stop either below the gap fill or below the candle from which the gap was initiated. Because we know if it gets filled, it's not a runaway gap. It's likely a common gap or an exhaustion gap, short-lived as this trend may be. So you don't want to see it get filled, and therefore your stop placement has to be quite strategic over here to make sure you're not on the wrong side of this trade. So keep that in mind. Now, the breakout strategy. We talked about the pullback strategy. Here comes the breakout strategy. For more aggressive traders, consider entering on a breakout of the high of the gap for an uptrend or the breakdown of the low of the gap for a downtrend. This strategy requires higher risk tolerance, and there's a chance, obviously, of false breakouts. Here, you can help alleviate some of these false signals by looking at volume. You want volume confirmation. So increased trading volume accompanying the breakout can absolutely strengthen your signal. Stop losses, important areas here as well. You want to make sure your stops are objectively placed. Instead of placing a stop loss arbitrarily but below or above the gap, you can use support and resistance levels. For an uptrend, for example, you place the stop loss below the nearest significant support level before the gap. For a downtrend, you place a stop loss above the nearest resistance level for before the gap. So here's what I'm talking about. Let me just go back over here. So for example, if this was the gap that I'm going to trade, right, and I wanted to take a breakout trade. So I would have to place the stop below this area over here. I don't necessarily like that. I gotta tell you why. Because if the price comes back all the way over here to this key area of support, this is a gap fill. And that to me says more common gap than runaway gap. So I don't like what the lesson is saying. I personally would not do it that way, but do it as you like. Right, I know you're looking, so I just wanted to say, like, if they want me to place a stop right here. But what's the point of placing the stop right here if the price action fills the gap? Because this is not supposed to be filled if it's a runaway
You're
gap,
right? So that makes no sense.
Yeah, so to me, it doesn't ring true, but you're free to do as you like. So that's the objective placement. You can also base your stop loss on ATR, average true range, to base it on volatility, especially those times where the market's a bit volatile. So you can use ATR to determine stop loss levels based on market volatility. In case you're wondering how to do that, we have an entire week of lessons of how to use ATR, and one of those days was stop placement. So go back into the YouTube channel for Trader TV and just search ATR, and that lesson should come up. Profit targets as well. Do you have anything to say?
No, sorry, I was going to press the vote button because I thought we were done the lesson. Sorry,
Almost.
my bad.
I'm sorry, it's a little long-winded today.
No, it's okay. No, I'm just trying to get everybody hyped. Thank you, guys. Shout out.
No worries.
Google.
So profit targets, right? Fibonacci extensions. We can look to fibs to gauge where to wet our beak, right? So these can be used to identify potential profit targets based on the size of the gap. You can also look to moving averages for a crossover. So for example, if you're printing up a storm and then all of a sudden the 10 crosses below the 20, that's a bearish crossover. So is that time to take profits? How about if the 20 crosses below the 50? So you need to be looking and making sure that you've got a set of tools that you're using consistently, and don't try kind of the freestyle there. You got to make sure that it's working within your system. Risk to reward ratio as well. What's going on over there, Katina man? Uber's tanking, says the Katina man. And I haven't had eyes on Uber the entire day, but yeah, it is at low of day. Just broke 63 right now. So whoever is following along with the Katina man's trade, he's printing up a storm on that Uber short, 64.77 high a day. Just broke 63 right now. Last but not least, Adara, risk to reward ratio. We don't want to tell you how to trade, but one of the more generally accepted risk to reward ratios is at 1 to 2 or better. So if you are looking, basically to risk $10 on your stop, you should be looking to wet your beak on $20 on profits. Again, that's for you to decide. Confirmation, lastly here. It is key. While continuation gaps suggest a strong trend continuation, it's crucial to seek confirmation from other technical indicators. You should be looking to the RSI or the MACD or whatever other oscillator you'd like to use, or even moving averages, to help confirm the trend strength and potential for further price movement. And I'll leave you with a bit of a bonus tip here. Pay attention to the overall market sentiment when trading continuation gaps. Strong bullish or bearish sentiment can certainly enhance the potential profitability of these trades there.
That's really interesting. Thank you, Sherry, for going over that lesson there. You want to be able to see, like you said, all of these gaps in context with what the rest of the market's doing. So I appreciate the comment there about sentiment. Also, with regards to risk to reward, I would say, and you even try this in the sim, but try experimenting with different risk to reward styles. Like I said, that's something I've been working on a lot, because you want to see what are you comfortable with, but also what is your trading style compatible with, right? Because that might depend on the type of stocks you're trading. That might depend on the how you're trading, your style. So I just wanted to put that out there, because I use different risk reward styles when I'm scalping, depending on when when I'm scalping or when I'm trading a chart. Speaking of charts, I want to talk about Crowdstrike, because I took $1 on half the position and $1.65 on the rest of it. It was $1 and 2/3 and $1.65 on the remaining third. Thank you, Sharif. I appreciate that. I want to talk about Crowdstrike, because this was, and I want to shout it again. Sean was telling me earlier today, he's like, I was talking about my 1 p.m. trading rules. So, I do think it's less about time, as I've said, and more like, am I tired? Recognizing that, some people have, they're long biased or short biased. I have tired bias to worry about. So I know that I'm going to be a little less on my game. I was a little bit depressed when I last saw you guys, because I was like, the Tesla trade didn't work well. I didn't read it properly, whatever. Then we get to Crowdstrike. And I said, one of my tired trading rules is only look at stocks when it's a little bit later in the day that you have been looking at for a while, that you have levels on. I'd been looking for a bit of a base here in Crowdstrike. I saw these higher lows on the 3-minute chart. So I said, one of my playbooks for chart trades, and especially during the tired trading hours, is what else am I seeing? Am I seeing any confirmation at other time frames? Saw a higher low here. on Crowdstrike on the 3-minute. Then I saw also a topping tail, or sorry, not a topping tail, a couple bottoming tails here on the 5-minute. But also the 1-minute was giving me some confirmatory action as well. We were bouncing off the 9 EMA with these higher lows. So basically I had all that confirmation, and I also watched what we did at 227 on the book. We held it like a dang glove. So I said, if we get to 228 and we hold that, that's where you go long, Adara. We did. I did. The plan was to take out a third at 229, save a piece for the dream. I took a bit of a larger position too. I took a larger position than I initially took when I entered the Crowdstrike position the first time around, because I said I like these levels. I owe it to myself, even though I was a little bummed out about the Tesla trade. You know, as Opie says, where's the next trade? This Crowdstrike trade? Nothing to do with my Tesla trade. It's its own trade on its own merits. There was more merit for this. Happy I took it how I took it. That is the CRWD trade. Shout out to Jay Lee saying, remember when I told y'all crowd was going to dump past 300 last week and get much lower? Just saying, I wish I had more money on that, or I guess more on that, and held it longer. Didn't think it would be this fast. Yeah, I think Crowdstrike's interesting because it's been such a developing news story that it has given you a lot of moves, you know, both intraday, as we get developments intraday, on a wider time frame. I think with Crowdstrike too, the reason I was in the long for now, though I also was very hesitant and got out some of it immediately, is because Crowd is a bit of an SSR bounce move. I was talking to Neil about this a while ago after one of the market recaps. I want to shout out as well, Sean and Neil. I feel like I've learned so much more since starting here on the market recaps, because you get to have those one-on-one conversations. Though, you know, like, you're always going to learn a bit from different trading styles, right? And so one thing too that Neil was kind of saying to me is when you know when you see an SSR bounce. This Crowdstrike stuff, you knew it when you saw it. Was happy I was able to take it. And yeah, I just want to shout out Sharif for putting together those lessons every single day. I feel like I learned so much from being here on this desk and learning from Sharif's awesome pharma trades with the Mercked one and the Pfizer one. What are you looking at right now?
I'm looking at Crowd, Derek, because I'm like very envious of your trade, because I love how you took it. I don't know if you were looking at the same thing as I was, but I was looking for a 20 exponential pop. And
I wasn't looking at that.
Yeah, and there was a first breach of the 10 on, guys. Yeah, the first breach of the 10. What is this? Why is it not showing me pre-market data? I think I took pre-market data off. I have to put it back on. Sorry about that. Here we go. There we go. That makes a bit more sense. It was the first breach of the 10 exponential, essentially, since we rang the bell this morning on a closing basis. So this was a really good trade. I want to shout you out for that.
Thank you.
And you took a lot on that too, so that's even better. I'm keeping my eye now on NVAX, because this doesn't look like it's respecting really moving averages so much as it's respecting these price action areas over here. So we double topped at around 1125 and 1130. We did that exact same double top at 1240 and 1245. What's going on? Uber? Well, yeah, Nvidia?
$4 now.
The Katina Man's now $4 in the money on Nvidia as it breaks 104. It is now negative 7% on the day.
Wow.
Eek, 100 incoming. Yeah, I'm good with that. So we'll keep obviously tabs on that. Let's have a look at the monster Nvidia. Yeah, this thing is tanking, bro. Jeez, I'm thinking there's definitely a reweighting here of how the market is assessing their dominance. This TPU headline, this is really interesting. I need to hear more, though. It can't just be Apple buying TPUs and all of a sudden the market's going to change its tune, right? Like, there has to be more big scaler, like these hyperscalers or sub-hyperscalers that get in. I felt it, Katina, man. The $100 was incoming, bro. It might come in today, straight up. It may actually come in today. Yeah, well, 7 1/5 round. I mean, it is on the way down. Wow, 103.42. It just printed the low of day. The Katina is printing up a storm on that side of the desk. So we'll keep tabs on Nvidia. What's this other one that I was talking about earlier? ISPO. Okay, good. This one's coming into VWAP now. It's time to look at this one right at this level. So time to load up ISPO. We'll keep Merck on because we're doing good on that ISPO. There we go. All right, so this is right at that $8 level. The volume weighted average price, though, is at 775, 776 on my chart. So I want to see right now, does it hold or does it weasel its way down into VWAP? It did come into VWAP earlier at around noon and held, and then we made a new high a day. I'm not saying we're going to have high a day right now, but it behooves me to want to get in something. I'm just unsure if it holds here or not. So I'm going to pack my patience. 3 pennies spread on an $8 name, better than it was earlier. Actually, 4 pennies now. It keeps zigging and zagging. So we'll see if this one holds up at 8. If it doesn't, I'm looking at 7.25 Adara.
Yeah, interesting look on
ISPO.
all of these here markets. So I'm just got a throat lozenge going on there. So, because long being able to talk, good times. No, so Tesla 221, I'm watching. Can it do something for me? I'm not really sure. I want to see what we do here with this Tesla, so I'm going to swallow this lozenge. There we go. TSLA, though, I'm seeing a bit of a rejection here at 221.20s with lower highs. I was going to get involved initially at 20s, but I wanted to wait to see that flip-flop. As I waited, Tesla was like, Adara, beep, beep, gotta go. And I'm like, do you have to? I guess you do. There we go. I have my order ready here. Bang. If we come back to that 220 98s and we come back, I'm not in it yet, but I appreciate the premature bang. There we go. Appreciate that. Yeah, bang. Sometimes you got to bang for the idea, for the conviction. To trade the idea. I'm not going to get this Tesla 221, but basically I was waiting for that breakdown. Like I said, these whole dollar breakdowns on TSLA have been indeed a little bit spicy. So let's take a look at that Tesla. If we come back to retest that 221 and we reject again, I'm interested in taking that short. I don't want to be too premature about it. I don't want to revenge trade it. I want to be calm, cautious, careful. All of those words that start with C. As Sharif once said, though, the biggest C word in trading is conviction.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's what I want to have. The other one that was confidence. Or confidence. And so you want to have that or be confidera, as shout out to Darwin in the chat said. The other thing that I want to keep an eye on here that I was looking at was the SPY. This spider keeps crawling down here with its little legs. Bit of a clear rejection area a couple times in and around that 541, 541.30. Lower highs, Kwadunk, indeed, Kwadunk, there it is. Shout out to Spy, Big Spy Burdett. I know he was looking at 537. He might actually get that today, which is wild. I think he was looking at 542 to 537 thereabouts. So shout out to you, Big Spile, wherever you may be, whatever trade you may be looking at. I think that this call out from you yesterday was a really solid look. And I know you're looking at a 30-minute time frame. So good look there. Also, guys, if there's anything you're looking at here in the market that you want to see what the big kahunas have to say about it, Naz, Sharif has clarified the big kahunas. That includes Obi when he's at those desks as well. So if you want to see what anyone who is sitting at those two big desks is looking at, what their views are on this year market, get in that chat, exclamation point, join space, $ sign, whatever tickers your fancy. Maybe it is the SPY, maybe it's EWIM, the Russell 2000, maybe it's Microsoft ahead of earnings, maybe it's AMD ahead of its earnings, maybe it's ipso facto or ispo facto, I guess. Maybe you want to hear about Sharif's pharma trades, whatever it is, guys. Put those tickers in the chat, exclamation point, join space, $ sign, whatever tickers your fancy. Thank you, Sam, for the kind comments. We appreciate you guys in the chat here every single day as well. SPY, if you want to come back and retest and reject 539.50, I shall scalp short you. Just give me the opportunity to do so, because as Bears versus Bulls said, the SPY is falling. So
I love it.
Little.
I love it. That's a good one. Shout out to Bears versus Bulls, man. He's taking a page out of your book. He's punting up a storm.
I love it.
Guys, Nvidia is in panic mode at the moment here if you're long, because, yeah, we just got to 102.82, put a nice little hammer candle over here. Looks like there's some buyers at like this one. I ain't going to punch the buy button on this one, though. Up into 103.24, trying to recover over here. So tough day for Mag 7. Tough day. Is the Russ up today? No, the Russ is flat. So the Dow and the Russ are flat. The Nasdaq is getting shellacked. We're almost 2% now in negative land on the Nasdaq. So yeah, keep an eye out on that. All right, I'm printing nicely here on ISPO. We're 25 pennies in the money. I'm looking at taking out more at 33s. We did get up into 33, Fabian, but we weren't able to print. Here we go again. Here comes 35s. Here's 30. Aw, come on, bro. Give me the print, man. So we didn't cross there. It's a bit of a spready name for an $8 stock, to be quite honest with you. I've been waiting at 33s for a hot minute. I still haven't been able to get it. We got up to 35 on the ask. The bid didn't cross, though. So as a result, we didn't print. That's the way the spread game works. So good look right now on ISPO, but, you know, nothing really to write home about. Nice 30 some odd pennies on money. Guys, everything is coming down on the Mag 7. Again, Nvidia right back into that 102.82 area. The weakness is absolutely palpable on anything Mag 7 related right now. Google and Apple faring the best. They had a headline overnight, with respect to tensor processing units. Nvidia, you know, obviously the opposite of that, getting hit the worst because it's their GPUs that have been widely looked at by market participants as being, you know, the gold standard in AI build out. Whether you're looking for data centers, whether you're doing it locally, it has been the gold standard, but you haven't been able to get your hands on them. Back ordered, quite frankly, you know, it's a bit of a tougher look there. And now the market looking for an alternative. And lo and behold, these TPUs have made their way onto the market. So we'll have to see what kind of damage they can do to NVIDIA's business model in the long term or, you know, permanently. We'll have to wait and see. But these TPUs is not something that we didn't know about. We knew exactly that Google was making their own processor. We know also that Amazon is making their own processors as well, okay, for AI. Now we know Apple's been making their own processors for a hot minute, the M1, 2, 3, but those are CPUs, right? So those weren't really the gold standard in AI. Anyway, back to the trade. The Katina man just let me know that Nvidia is 35% lower off its highs. And here's the look. So let's pull up the daily here on NVDA. Here's all-time highs. We printed, I believe, 141.5. There we go, drag, 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 drag. And there you go, baby. That is damage right there. That's damage. But hopefully this $100 level holds and everybody gets the print because everybody goes long and then everybody's rich there. So that's a look there.
I like that version. That's a hopium I will pop right there because that would be a nice dream. This SPY, like I said, I was looking for whole dollar. I wanted I honestly should have taken 30s here. Couldn't get my 50s. Should have taken 30s, risked into 50s. I did not. I waited for 539s. But that 539 breakdown wasn't what I wanted it to be. Ended up taking, I think, around 10 pennies here as we got into 538 90s. We were making higher lows. I stand by my exit. I'm not getting back involved in this unless and until we see some lower lows here again on that S&P 500. Happy with how I took the trade. Happy I took the trade, not necessarily as happy with the execution because now we're getting that bigger breakdown on the SPY, but it's all good, baby, baby. I was also looking at Tesla here, but you had to choose your fighter sometimes, and the fighter I chose was the spider. Accidental rhyme? I like it.
I like it.
Go market, go Kismet, go sports. Let's take a look here at TSLA. Tesla continuing on this trend of making lower highs, lower lows. But like I said, Tesla for me is going to be a little bit less of a chart trade than it is going to be a trade based on what I am seeing on the book that I found is helpful. I don't think I talked about this trade. Also, I think I forgot to talk about this, but I did take a quick scalp long here at 222s. Took about 20 pennies on half the position, 10 pennies in the other half of that position. So that was at the same time I took Crowdstrike. So let's see what TSLA does here, though. If we break below 220s, again, you guys know what my rule for the whole dollar trades. Test, break below, like have that rejection, retest, reject again. That's when I get involved. So let's see what Tesla does right now, bouncing off 220s, but that doesn't mean it will bounce off 220s forever. 221, unfortunately, could not do something for me in Tesla. I didn't get filled, but that doesn't mean 220s can't. If you believe in something, you have to go after it. You have to have the confidence, because a scared trader is a deficient trader. If you don't believe in something, by all means, do not force that move. But if you believe in the trade, if you believe in yourself, no one else is going to believe in you for you. You got to believe in yourself. That is step one. If you believe in yourself, then you can believe in your trades and you can make said trades. Can't believe it is already 1 p.m. There were no auctions today of the 1 p.m. variety, guys. We will, I guess, get that last lesson started here pretty soon. But yeah, just watching Tesla. Crowdstrike as well. Happy I didn't haul it back in that long because it looks like it was going to be holding at 228s for a hot minute. And then Crowdstrike struck even further to the downside. Can lightning strike Crowdstrike twice to the downside? I mean, it's, as Sharif said, this thing has been hit. And I think the timing of it's a little bit unfortunate too. We had, I remember at one point there was an analyst, I believe Morgan Stanley, saying that they saw Crowdstrike 100 bill market cap by, I believe, 2025. And then we had its inclusion in the S&P 500, which should have been great, but then we had the outage there. Crowdstrike just keeps getting struck with bad news catalyst after bad news catalyst. So a little bit of a sad one. I don't want to get back into the long term because Sharif covered this one so well. And shout out to Fugazi Bear saying Crowdstrike's a short. Honestly, Crowdstrike, basically every pop has been short on the intraday. But if you're going to trade it intraday, just be aware again of the SSR bounce. That's how I've been playing this name, just because apparently I'm a little bit wary of them. But just be aware with Crowdstrike, the SSR is in full force. And when it comes, it can come with a swiftness and a viciousness. EWM short again, says Mahmoud. So let's take a look at this one. Trust the levels, says Sam. I agree. If you have levels you like, whether that's on the book, whether that's on the chart, depending on how you're trading, trust those. If you trust the levels, if you trust your trade, then you could start trusting yourself. Oh, EWM. This is beautiful. Shout
That's
out
the first
to
one.
Mahmood. This is the first pushback. Because I think the pushbacks have been in my brain, Sharif. I've just been taking the trades based on what I like. But yeah, I mean, that doesn't mean the chair pushbacks don't matter too. We love them.
Of course they matter.
Lower highs, lower lows. Honestly, I don't have much to say here about levels. It's just been gorgeous. One level that, it's not even massive, but one thing that is kind of interesting is 222. I was watching the book around 222 as well, because look at all these wicks we had trying to break above it and continuing lower. We did have 190 MA rejection here at 222 on our general pursuit to the downside. It was also a bit of an area here of support briefly in the pre-market. So just be aware of 222 here for IWM. But generally, downside, more downside. That's going to be my overall technical analysis of IWM as we get ready for our last lesson du jour. What are you looking at over here right now?
Oh, but Nacho's asking, when will we speak about the stocks that we submitted? So that takes place between 2 and 2:30, 2:20, however long it takes. It's called the afternoon rundown, and it happens right after the end of the show. This show goes from 11 to around 2, then from 2 to 2:20, 2:15. We do the afternoon rundown. If in case you don't know what that is, those are the tickers as submitted by you. And we're going to do it the old-fashioned way. We're going to get into the chat. You're going to type in exclamation point, the word join, space, $, and the ticker of your choice, whatever that may be. Make sure, though, to put in a space between the word join and the $. Otherwise, Streamlabs will not understand what you want to do. So, yeah, that's a look there. Shout out to Nacho148. I understand you wanted to know about that. Big Bob Dub also messaging me, NQ daily trend line from the beginning of the year here, really? Okay, I haven't had a look at the NQ. The NDX is what I'm assuming you're talking about, because the futures contract rolls every 3 months. So I'll look at that in a second, but I'm interested in a couple of different trades right now. Number one, Affirm is coming into $27. This is important because Affirm had a positive catalyst. It's still up on the day, almost 1%, but you can see big time rejection. Now, why am I interested at Affirm at these levels? 27 is a whole dollar level above the closing print from yesterday. The closing print from yesterday is 26.85. So this is a positive catalyst. I have a bias that we defend the closing print from yesterday given the positive catalyst, even though everything has been down and to the right since the bell rung. The move up was in the pre. I get all that. But I'm watching. 27, if it holds, fantastic, we'll go long. If it doesn't, I'm going to be looking at 26.90, 26.85. So much do I like it. So if we do break down that level, I want all the smoke. So I'm activating an alert to let me know about that. So Affirm, I'm keeping an eye on that. Elon, also, look at this, Elon. Here we go again with Pfizer. Right back into the closing print from yesterday. That's $30.75. We rejected off there at 11.40 and 11.45, and we're right back there again. Now, it's a bit of a different story this time, right? Because we have a bit of a higher low. So, you know, obviously the low on the day is 29.78. If you want to call that trough number 1, I would say this is trough number 2. This little middle part of this rounded bottom over here. Shout out to the big spiraled one. 30, 40 in and around that area. So we're weaseling our way right back up now, Elon, but we're still out. I don't mean just Elon to put you on the spot, but anybody who else is trading Pfizer, I'm looking at this level. I'm very interested to see how we trade here. It's been a key level, not just because we rejected off at 11.40 and 11.45, but look at these two bottoming tail candles right at 9.30, 9.35. We come into that exact area, and then we pop back up only to give away about half an hour later at this 10.15 candle over here. So keeping an eye on this level. I like Pfizer for the long term from now on. I like this level. But intraday, I feel it's having a whole bunch of trouble breaking through. So if it rejects, I'll take a short. If it breaks above it and holds above it, I'm going to take it long for maybe a 31 touch or a 31.20 touch. That's where the high of day is on the chart. The other trade, Affirm, I already went through that. It's holding 27 for now. Still, it's got to show me something here. Show me a second green candle, dude. Like, you know, one measly green candle and not going to get me long at this level. Whether it's holding 27 or not, I need to see a bit more. Maybe a new candle to make a high or something like that. But that's a look. Let's flip back to some of the Mag 7s. Okay, so we got a bit of a bounce right now on some of these names. Apple coming back into the 20. You're also seeing Nvidia, Tesla, and some other names trying to weasel their way back into the 10. Again, I'm biased on this, but I feel that Apple and Google are the strongest on the day. You can see Apple touch the 20, no other one touch the 20. Google actually touched the 10. You're not getting many other touches at the 10 there. Bob Dub. Oh, sorry. That was an old comment. Bob Dub, I lied, November to now. Okay, I'll look at that in a second. Bob, thank you for letting me know about that. Trader CL. You trade the CL contract? You trade oil? Yeah, because that's what oil is.
That's
CL,
true. That's a good
right?
one.
Maybe he is, or they are.
Club.
Let me give you free money. Long silver 28.10 to 29.10. I don't even have silver, or do I? I think I might have lied about that. I think I put silver on the big desk, but not here. I'll have a look at that in a second. But thank you again, Trader CL. Looks like you like your commodities over there. CL, silver. There's a whole bunch of shit. Jay Lee. One thing really up to date is Boyle. Really didn't have a look at that. More than 6% since open. Yes, my view is limited. I don't watch everything. I know you love your Boyle. Jay Lee, we'll have a look at a sec. I met November. I got your message, Big Bob Dove. So shout out to you. Keeping an eye on these Meg 7 names here, Dara, as they did get a bit of a bounce. This could be an interesting area to get short on some of them.
Yeah, Tesla 221 can in fact do something for Tesla again. I took a long off that bounce to 220.50s. Ended up getting like 12 pennies. I did get a little bit spooked out. Happy I stuck with the trade. Happy I tried the trade. But one of the biggest things I've noticed with my Tesla trades, and I've said this, is if I can get a bit more of a move, I should maybe be piecing stuff out. So stuff for me to keep in mind when I aggressively journal tonight. Also, someone saying here, who was this in the chat, saying, yeah, Jamlosi saying SPY seems like it's catching a bid. I was watching the book on the SPY. I heavily agree. We got to 539.50. That was a previous area of resistance. We rejected. Then we came to 539.30, which was another area I watched on the way down, and then we bounced. So I would be keeping an eye on SPY here. It's nudging its little forehead towards 540, which has also happened to be in confluence with 9 EMA on the 5-minute chart. This could be an interesting look for the SPY. Crowdstrike also getting interesting here. I like that 228. Crowdstrike trying to strike 228 again. But right now we're going to strike while the iron is hot. Give you guys your last run around of this continuation gap lesson to continue this gap lesson over the last few weeks. I always want to shout out Sharif. Thank you so much for putting together these lessons.
My pleasure.
Because I feel like I learn a lot. I think we all learn a lot together as a community. And we're called How to Trade. So learning how to trade is fun. So we're going to do that. So we're going to today focus on continuation gaps, which are also known as runway gaps, and the way that these gaps can signal a strong continuation of that existing trend. So continuation gap or a runaway gap is going to be a gap in the price chart that occurs within a trending market. But unlike breakaway gaps, which usually will signal the start of a new trend, the continuation gap is going to reinforce whatever the existing trend has been. So here's one example. You've got some different examples of gaps. So common gap, you just have gap, then we go back to normal. Then breakaway gap is when you have a new trend forming. Then you can see the continuation gap or runaway gap. This is part of the same uptrend that we've had, continuing to climb higher, pushing higher. Then, of course, our exhaustion gap, which is when this trend runs out of steam, and then it continues to push. So here we go. Continuation gap. This is one bullish example. So we're in our trend. Then this runaway gap, hop, skips, and jumps to make a new move higher, continuing this trend a little bit. But here's one example of a bearish continuation gap. We're moving down in the market, then we've got a little bit of a gap as we continue to move lower. So nice look there for the continuation gap to the downside. But here are some characteristics of continuation gaps, in addition to just those examples we showed you on the charts. So size is something to look for. Continuation gaps can vary in size. They're usually going to be a bit larger than common gaps. Timing is something worth noting as well. They're usually going to occur after a period of consolidation or a pullback within an established trend. But you also want to be aware of volume, because you can often see increased trading volume accompanying these continuation gaps, which can continue that strong buying or selling pressure you saw starting the trend is continuing with a viciousness to have that trend run away in its continued direction. But price action is also worth noting, because the price will usually continue to move in the direction of the gap, hence the name continuation gap, because it's reinforcing the trend. Also, Trader CL saying here, apparently he's a lawyer who trades a lot of crypto, as well as some others' names here, so therefore he's a crypto lawyer. So I thought that was pretty cool. I wanted to shout that out there. Also, That's our lesson here. So here's examples of multiple continuation gaps within the trend. You have your early breakaway gap, but we've got a runaway gap. It's running. Oh, can it run further? Yes, it can. So we don't even need necessarily just one runaway gap. If the trend's continuing, if we have a gap up, that gap can run away. Nvidia hasn't made its way to 1,000. We saw quite a few runaway gaps in that name. So just want to shout out our pal Nvidia. Not like it doesn't get shouted out enough, Sharif.
Honestly.
But here's an example, too, of a continuation gap in our friend Gapple. We have this bullish engulfing here. It's one signal here in a candle that we have these gaps on their way. Then we've got our exhaustion gap signaling the end of a downtrend. Before we get a gap fill and our runaway gap, we run to the upside. We're running. And, as Jesse McCartney might say in a song that probably no one else knows than me, we're running away. So we have this one running. Shout out to Jesse McCartney circa 2008 because he still makes music and he's pretty cool. So nice little runaway here for Apple. And as you can see, we get it with volume too, guys. Look at the volume we get as we get this runaway gap. I think that's a great look and I think something to keep an eye on here. But why do these continuation gaps occur? As we said earlier, they're going to signify a continuation of the trend. So basically, they occur because that trend is still, say it with me, continuing. They can often happen due to, I know, right? I'm saying like profound stuff over here. No, all jokes aside though, they continue because we're seeing some increased or continuing, I'll stop saying the word continuing, investor interest. Actually, Ramin would like me to keep the joke, so thank you, Ramin. I appreciate the endorsement there. Shout out to Ram and Fabian, Ramin and the Chilean neighbor for everything they do every single day. Go team.
You don't do anything? Yeah, right.
Ramin's gone from trolling us to trolling herself.
Yeah.
Question mark. So
they're like the hardest working.
They can do everything over there. Wrong one. Shout out to Ramin. But yeah, basically, we can see this increased investor interest, which is reflected on the chart through a continuation gap. A surge in buying or selling interest, buying if you're in an uptrend, selling if you're in a downtrend, can quickly push prices away from recent levels and create a gap in that existing trend. News or events can also be worth keeping an eye on. Positive or negative news related to the asset can trigger a rapid price movement. And again, usually with a continuation, it's going to be continuing to happen in whatever direction. What about technical factors? So overbought or oversold conditions can lead to a sharp price correction and a subsequent gap. But now we also have to talk about where you might want to enter these continuation gaps. Now that we've talked about them, how do you play them potentially? So here's one example. If you're looking for entry, you might want to see pullback confirmation. So wait for a pullback here to the gap because that can provide a more favorable entry point. It can help you identify support and resistance once you've had this gap. So after the gap, a previous support level can often become resistance and vice versa. A pullback to these levels can offer a good entry opportunity. Retracement levels are worth noting as well. So using the Fibonacci retracements, for example, you can help identify potential support and resistance areas within the pullback. For example, a pullback to the 38.2% or 50% retracement levels in your fibs could be a suitable entry point. It might be fibbing, but it's just one level for you to keep an eye on. So here's one example of a continuation gap pullback entry. So you can come back here. Look where we're bouncing to. I'm actually going to give a pushback for this chart as the example because we have a runaway gap. And look, we're bouncing off that previous chop churn area and we push higher. So just one example of using a runaway gap as an area for support and resistance. But here's another way of looking for your entry for your continuation gap. What about stop losses? Or sorry, we're still going with breakout strategy. I apologize. So for a more aggressive trader, if you're looking at a continuation gap, you might want to consider entering on a breakout of the high of the gap for an uptrend or a breakdown of the low of the gap for a downtrend. So that's going to be entering near highs or lows. It's going to be more of a Katina Man type strategy, a bit more of an aggressive look at these here markets. This strategy will require a higher risk tolerance, as implied, I guess, by the Katina Man reference. You want a higher risk tolerance because there will be a chance of a fake out breakout, which we don't want any of that smoke unless you do. Unless you have the risk management to keep that in mind. So volume confirmation is worth watching for this as well. Increased trading volume accompanying the breakout can strengthen your signal. But let's talk about stop loss with regards to continuation gaps. Objective placement is one option. So instead of placing the stop loss arbitrarily below or above the gap, you might want to use S&R, support resistance levels. So for an uptrend, you might want to place the stop loss below the nearest significant support level before the gap. In a downtrend, you might want to place the stop loss above the nearest significant resistance level before the gap. Volatility-based stops are worth noting as well. You might want to use ATR, average true range, to determine a stop loss level based on market volatility as well. I'd like to opine one thing that Sharif has told me that I think has been huge. Whatever you're using to enter the trade, you might want to consider using that to help you exit the trade.
Thanks.
That's why I started using the book as my entry and exit points when I'm doing my Tesla trades. Because if I'm trading based on the book, how is the chart going to help me? What does that even mean?
Agree.
If you're going to take chart trades, that if I want to use a specific level on the chart to get in, I might also want to use one to get out, but whether that be for profit or loss. So I want to shout out Sharif because that advice he gave me right when I started on the show, and I think it's huge, and it's something worth noticing as well. If you're seeing support and resistance near a gap, maybe you might want to use that. If you're using ATR with that gap, hey, if that gets a little floppy jalopy, that might be something worth playing. Why did I say that? I don't know. That might be something worth looking at as well for market volatility.
Thanks.
So thank you, Sharif, for affirming, just to reference the trade you're in, that thesis, and I cannot wait to hear about this trade. I just see that on my side chart, and I say chef's kiss. But profit targets, which I know Sharif's looking at for his affirm, are worth noting as well for continuation gaps. So Fibonacci extensions might be helpful. They can be used to identify potential profit targets based on the size of the gap. Moving averages are also worth noting. You might want to look for a moving average crossover. So, for example, the 10 to the 20 over the 50 over the 100, etc. And also risk to reward ratios. Ensure that the potential profit target justifies the risk taken. A generally accepted risk to reward ratio might be 1 to 2 or better. But again, it's really going to depend on what type of trader you are. Also, shout out to Darwin putting a snap in the chat. I don't know who that's for, but I'm going to snap for Sharif's affirm trade because I cannot wait to hear about that. But confirmation or affirmation is key because I cannot stop referencing that trade. While continuation gaps can suggest a strong continuation of the trend, it's crucial to seek confirmation from other technical indicators. Indicators like RSI, MACD, or moving averages can help confirm the trend strength and potential for further price movement. Also, seeing someone in the chat, I just want to address this. Sometimes we'll take a few less trades because it is a bit more of a subdued period of the day. I scalp a lot too, so I might be in a trade and I might be in and out in a split second. Doesn't mean I'm not taking the trade. It's just my style of trading is a little bit different. So I want to shout that out. No two traders are alike, much like no two snowflakes are alike.
No.
But I can affirm that sometimes there will be a little bit less trading, but it's just because we're waiting for the right opportunities. Speaking of which, affirm.
Yes, thank you for that, Adara. Look, I thank you for the shout out. Obviously, good intentions there, but I got to tell you that I missed the best part of this trade, and the best part was a $27 dip, and I was waxing poetic, to use a phrase that you use often over here with respect to that level, and I had my alert down at 96s. I wanted a 27 breach, and the reason was because the closing print was at 26.83. So I was like, oh, this is gonna be fantastic. We're gonna weasel our way down into the closing print, and I'm gonna get a wicked bounce up. We got into 27s, and we kept putting in higher highs, higher highs. I kept saying, look, wait a little bit more, and then it kept going up. So, the reason I got short here was a 20 exponential retracement, which it did exactly there. So if it breaks above my 51 level, I'm out of this one, and I will be looking long. This is an interesting area here because we have this double bottom area trough, 11 o'clock, where we held up, bounced into the 10, then tanked again. So I was looking at it not just for the 20 exponential, but based on the price action that we have been having earlier, it made sense to me. So a print above 51 pennies, I'm gone, and I will be looking a little bit differently at this one. Again, this is a positive catalyst, guys, right? This is a name that was up on the day. It got an upgrade. I forget from who, Adara, you know.
Oh my gosh, BofA Securities.
Yeah, thank you, BofA Securities.
I'm yelling.
Yeah, I know.
Got excited.
We're like on our game show, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, they liked a lot of what this company had to say, so it was a good catalyst, and then we ended up really giving back a lot. Now we're still up 2 1/3, so nothing bad to write about there. If it breaks 51, I'm gone Zeno on this one. So we'll pack our patience, see if this one does print 51. It's already printing another higher high there from this local area crest that we got into about 48. So I'm keeping my eye on that one. Very interested. There we go. We got stopped out for the remaining amount. That's okay there because I didn't have much left to begin with. Now I'm very interested in how this one is going to trade, right? So this area at 27.60, if this breaks, I'm going long aggressively because this is an area crest that we rejected off. You can see quite aggressively there. We went from 27.60 all the way down into that $27 hold. For now, it looks like I did get stopped out, prematurely because it dips back below 50. But that's all right, as Adara likes to say. I'm looking for something a little bit more on this one. But I see some winds of change here, possibly on Crowdstrike. Uh-oh, this is interesting here. Something's afoot with Crowdstrike. I'm going to shout out Big Spile's levels in a sec. Big Spile sent me some levels there on the SPY, and I want to shout them out to everybody else over here because Big Spile always trading up a storm on the SPY. So
hence the name Big Spile.
Yeah, right. Which you endowed him with, Adara. 1240, 1245. We weaseled into the 20 exponential on the 5. We got into 230, 47. Technically, I think we did breach that 50 penny level. We got into 59s. All right. So now we have a new high here, 230.99. So we're at that 231 level. We're above the 10, we're above the 20, we're above this area crest over here, but I want to see what we do at this 232. Now, you're telling me 231 is the level, we're rejecting off that. Well, this area trough over here rejected at 232. And it looks a little bit cleaner when you zoom out a little bit. So if we work up at 232, I wouldn't be at all surprised if we were rejected at that level. Right now, though, it does look like we're rejecting at 231. So maybe I should stop looking for longs on CrowdStrike because such beat up name. Anyway, if it works its way up to 232, I'll look to get short. So I'm putting that alert there now. And I want to have advanced notice because it's super spready. And will probably takes me some time to get into that screen. So let's put it at 69s because what's life without Whitley? And we'll see what we get there. But topping tail candles right now on Crowd. So maybe I spoke too soon saying the winds of change were coming. Maybe we will get winds of change if we take 231 on closing basis. That hasn't happened yet. Now, I yelled out to Neil that PayPal is above the volume weighted average price again. So this has been zigging and zagging a little bit. It started out the pre-market at 7 a.m. when it reported, not even thinking about VWAP. Then all of a sudden that bell came and we're zigging and zagging with VWAP. That's because the market's down aggressively on the day. So even though PayPal, obviously up big 8 3/4 right now, really couldn't, I guess sustain that move up. We're still off day high, basically takes us into that $65 area. We're inching into it now. Here comes 64 1/4. Oh, baby, could PayPal work its way up into $65, maybe even break that, while everything else in a bit of a holding pattern? I don't know. Right now, it feels like everything's coming down. Let's flip back to the Mag 7, see what is up here. So, anemic bounces, if I can say anything right now. We are getting some green candles, but definitely not at all outweighing the move down that we got. All right, Big Spile, shout out to him. Here is what Big Spile says. Level finally came in. I'm long the SPY at 539. I'm looking for a 541 plus retracement. Let's load up the SPY and see what Big Spile is talking about there. SPY, let's see. So he's long at 539. The dude's printing up a storm over here because he got long at 539, which was literally 50 pennies above high a day. I don't think you got your 541 yet, Big Spile, because it did weasel its way up into 540 2/3. Didn't get that 541 though. I hope you print. Hopefully we get a breach of that 20 exponential and you're able to get somewhere into 541. I think your 541 level makes absolute sense because it's the consolidation area top that we ranged at from essentially 1140 to the big boy breakdown at 1250. So the better part of an hour was the high end of the range. I hope that range comes back in, obviously, so you can print up a storm there. So shout out to Big Kyle Burdett. It looks like we may be getting a bit of a downturn, though, now on some of these names. Maybe it's time to look short after this dead cat bounce here. I don't know. What do you look?
I think that's a really nice transition into what I was going to say about the SPY, which is I think it did give you a fake bounce. Now, should I have been scalpier? I should have. I had 540.35s. Had I gotten out as we got to 540.60s, which we did, could have had 25 pennies. Instead, I was like, no, we can go higher. No, didn't. Ended up losing 10 pennies. I basically got out here because I was just like, Adara, you're seeing lower highs. You're going to kick yourself if you don't get involved. I chased a bit anyway because I initially wanted something closer to 540s. I got 540.35s. To be clear, probably closer to 540.15s, 540.20s, but still, a chase is a chase. Doesn't matter if it's a Sprite chase, a Coca-Cola chase, it's a root beer chase. A chase is, in fact, a chase, so I have to address that. That being said, you guys know I like my whole dollar scalps, and this time I mean scalp, I promise, SPY. Don't worry. If we break decisively below that 540, I am qualmless about taking this short because also it is involved here with that 90 MA. TSLA. It is doing the dalliance with one of my favorite levels. So let's see what we do here. If we can resolve this to the downside, I'm interested in taking this short. You know what? We're trying to get 96. I don't think I'll get it. But if there's any tickers you're trying to get right now, if there's any tickers you want to talk about, get in that chat, exclamation point, join space, $, whatever tickers are fancy. Maybe it's TSLA, Nvidia, maybe it's a ISPO. Maybe you want to hear about what Sharif did with those pharma names, whatever ticker you are involved in, get in that chat and make sure your voice is heard. Exclamation point, join space, $, whatever tickers you're fancy. I want to shout out as well, Bears versus Bulls for always, doing the most in a good way, as Sharif says, to make sure everyone's voice is heard in the votes. If we keep bouncing here off 540.10s, I want to get out of the SPY. I think I read the SPY all wrong here. A little bit disappointing. I had some good trades on this earlier. Undid it a little bit with these last two trades, but if you see stuff you like, you have to go after it with the confidence, as long as you manage it properly. As long as you manage things appropriately, and I feel like I did with both these trades, I'm okay with that. Sorry, guys, I could feel myself speaking a little quickly there. These markets get me very excited indeed. But you have to have, the excitement for these markets because there's so much happening here every single day. Also, I can't believe there's 30 minutes left of the show. I feel like time has been flying and going really slowly at the same time in a good way because there's been so many great trading opportunities here in these markets.
Absolutely. And I want to remind everyone to get your vote on, guys. The entire segment between 2 and 220 really relies on you to get your vote in. The big kahunas, they're going to be locked and loaded, and they're going to be ready to look at the names as selected by you guys on this How to Trade Midday show. Get into the chat right now. Hit that exclamation point. Type in that dollar or the word join, space, $, and the ticker of your choice. If you want to see Pfizer fly up through the volume weighted average price, shout out to you, Elon. This is a great trade by you, my man. I don't know where you got in, probably around that 29 and change, 30 and change, because you've been holding this for a hot minute. And here we go. We are literally 10 pennies off that high a day that we printed right at 945. Obviously, that pre-market high still eludes us right around that 32. Looks like it's at 31.98. So great look there for PFE. It's working its way up. It really did get that big boy candle at 25 after one. About a million some odd shares there, I think we printed. Yeah, 1.1 million shares on that 5-minute candle, really thrusting that one up through VWAP. It was dilly-dallying over here. It kept, showing that there was resistance at that $30.70 area, which is yesterday's closing print. But most notably, it was putting in those higher lows, and that did really well there. So good look. I'm back short on Affirm at this level. We got multiple topping tail candles, and I'm looking to weasel my way into the short on this again. Hopefully this cooperates. We're about like a couple of pennies in the money, nothing to write a home about. Looking for this one to give way and wet my beak at around a quarter. But Pfizer is continuing to go. It just took 31. Where the hell is my Pfizer screen? There it is. All right, so Pfizer took 31. Now I want to see what it does at this whole dollar. We know 31.20 is a high a day. Great. All right, well, now we have that. But do we hold 31? That's going to be the question here. Do we continue to hold this level and work our way back up? I mean, we're only 1% up on the day. I mean, that's not that much, right? I mean, this stock has been absolutely shellacked this year and even going into last year as well. So it's due for a bit of a balance. It looks like their earnings report was really good from what I gleaned, but I'm not an analyst. It was, right? I mean,
from what I saw.
Likewise, same thing that I echo there. So we'll see. We'll see what we get. We will not get upset, but 31 doing the dance right now. Now you could get in and give yourself, to 30.95, whatever, risk 10, 15 pennies over here. Obviously, that 31.20 might act as resistance. That's only 13 pennies away. Here comes 31 again, Adara, and we come back down into 31. Do we break it, Katina Man? Shout out to him. He's printing up a storm on Nvidia and Uber. Go have a look at more Trader TV Live. You'll see all of Neil's trades, all of Sean's trades. Yeah, that's what he's doing right there. He's reloaded Nvidia or Uber. He reloaded Nvidia at 30s. So he's printing up on that. I don't even know what are we, 103.30s? 105.30s. So shout out to him. You're doing real well today. Katina Man, #1 trader on the floor today, baby. Get it, Adara.
Nice. Yeah. I want to talk about the SPY because I did a thing here and I was like, the long didn't work, the short didn't work. Did someone try to take a little bit of to borrow an obiism, a cheeky long on the SPY again? Yes, I did. Took 5 pennies. Again, not the trade of anyone's life. I need to work. I don't want to call it a revenge trade because I still saw levels I liked. We were still bouncing at the time. I was like, Adara, we're seeing lower highs, get out. Got involved at 33s, got out at 38s. Obviously, I'm not going to be like hooting for the hills about a cool 5-cent trade, but I think sometimes it's like if you want to get out, just take out for profit, understand when you're wrong, and be wrong, and that's okay. It's not, as Neil says, it's okay to be wrong. It's not okay to stay wrong. Exactly. I would have felt like I was staying wrong, and I stayed in that trade happy. I got back in, but it was like I'm not going to be happy if I stay back in, so I left. Also, Tesla, I don't know why I said it like that. I know I've been generally trying to look at Tesla less as a chart play, but I am seeing a little bit of a move, I guess, almost a reverse Christmas trade. Like a V-shaped recovery here, right? And also, we're seeing a level I like in the book, which is 223. I like these whole dollar levels. If we bounce here at 223 once again, I'm going to watch a couple more times. I'm willing to take Tesla with some aggression, with some size, with some motion in that here ocean, because I want some smoke here. That is honestly what I want. I want to get involved. I want that viciousness. Let's see what we do here. Like I said, these 20s, for whatever reason, these 20-cent levels have been a bit of a thing on Tesla. So I'd honestly be willing to enter at 21s, not just because of the song, guys, I promise. And if we bounce there, if we come back to 23s and bounce, I'm willing to stay in the trade. I want to see us have higher lows, though. I need to wait a little bit to let this trade percolate. I'm not even in it, so it's not even a trade. But I like this level. The other thing, though, I want to be cognizant of is Adara. This is pretty massive resistance earlier. Getting long at previous resistance is not always the move, so maybe you want to wait to see if it forms as support. Either way, I like what I'm seeing in the book for right now at TSLA. We are holding nicely above that 223 level, but no rushing into trades. That's what I say. Crowdstrike. Hi, I'm still looking at you, Crowdstrike. Had a couple of trades on Crowdstrike here, was profitable on 1.5 of them. And I say 1.5 because one of them, I took profit on half the position, added back in, lost 30 cents on that. But I mean, net positive for this, that is for sure. Again, I haven't been looking at my P&L, but sometimes it's just like, if the math, right? The math is mathing. So Crowdstrike coming into not only that 230 level that Sharif was talking about earlier, that I think has been interesting, but it's also coming into the 90 MA. If I see something I like on the book, I might take a smaller position. I took a larger position with that move because I felt wildly confident about that 228 bounce. Sometimes you have to have that confidence if you're looking at it for a long time. I don't think confidence is a bad thing either, as long as you're playing it appropriately in a way that makes sense. I'd been staring at it for a long time, so I knew where the bounce was. This Crowdstrike, I might have to bounce a little bit or been staring at a little bit more crowd into the book before I strike. So that's going to have to be what happens here. Let's talk about QXO. Adam DeLuce says, get back in that SPY. I honestly don't feel like I have a great read of the SPY right now, so I'm going to wait till I see something I like better in the book. But thank you, Adam DeLuce. I appreciate that. Hopefully you're having a winning session. Also, this QXO I've had my eye on all day. This is that Jared Kushner backed stock. They had that 80% down move because they had the SEC filing. And so there's been a bit of an flux of shares. But I want to talk about Pfizer because that looks amazing. Shout out to you, Sharif.
Yeah, thank you, Adara. I appreciate you. I waited for that 31 break. It came back, it retested 31, and the buyers came in plenty. We just took a nice 20 penny winner right now on the blue-pilled one, but it's still going, baby. There it goes, 31.30s incoming. This has been a strong name, and now it looks like the buying is on this bad boy over here as it blew through VWAP like it didn't even matter. And now look at this tape teleportation. This is, I think they have over 1 billion shares in the float. So for it to move requires a lot. I'm looking 1 second. Yeah, it got 5.6 billion share float. So to move Pfizer, you need big boy money. So there's a lot of pumping right now. Good look there. I took it out way too early. Look at this thing go. It's at $0.33. Looks like it's going to the dang $0.50. We talked about that $0.50 being that area of local resistance from that pre-market pop. Let's load up the Pfizer one and have a look real quick here. So there was, yeah, well, it's a bit convoluted, but there seems to be some resistance at this 31.50. It's not exactly 31.50 either. These two candles, again, this is pre-market stuff, so on lighter volume, you get the 50 penny rejection there. You try to weasel your way up, you get the 45 penny rejection there. So I'm all eyes, ears, and whatever sensory other perceptions I can look. 31.50 is going to be on my radar. I want to see if it gets breached. Let's put the order on the, not the order, the notification on the other side of 50. So we see if it does breach that 50 or whether there's going to be a whole bunch of selling coming in at around that level. Great afternoon for Pfizer as it goes over 2% on the day. Now, the other trade that I've got on here is boring me and lulling me to death. We're about 5 pennies out of the money on this Affirm short. The reason I'm still in it is because we really haven't gotten any higher highs. This is what I'm seeing on Affirm. I've lowered down my stop from 55s into 45s because I don't like what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a hold up right now for whatever reason at this, what is this, 30 penny level, and now I will get stopped out as it's at 46. It has to cross though, so I didn't see exactly if it crossed. Let's go back. Now we're stopped out. So this is like, yeah, the first L. Really, we've taken on the day on this one. Let me see. Am I still positive on it though? That would suck if I'm negative on it. Yeah, I'm negative on Pfizer now. That sucks. But that's yeah, that's the way it is, right? And that's kind of how Affirm. Sorry, not Pfizer. Affirm. Negatory on it. Am I out of this? Yeah, I'm out of this. So we'll keep an eye on this 50 to see if it rejects. If it rejects, I'll get in again, I swear. So we'll see exactly what we get over here. Now this is what I'm looking at. I want to see. I hear about Adara's trade in a second, but here's what I'm looking at: high, lower high, lower high, and if we reject that 50s, that's going to be a definite lower high there. So I will be very interested if we do reject that 50s and at the most 53s. Tell us all about that trade, Adara.
Thank you. I will, with pleasure. I want to, like I said, I am a little bit more cognizant after when I trade after one or when I'm more tired. But that doesn't mean I won't take trades. It just means I want to take trades I feel great about. Trades I've been watching for reasons I like. I was talking about that Tesla 223. I said, hey, you know what I like about this? I like that A, the book is shaping up pretty nicely. B, we had that nice Christmas tree retracement. C, we had this level, but I wanted to see us bounce. Well, I come back. The book is still looking mighty fine. We're still holding that 223 generally pretty well. Look at that bottoming tail candle. All signs to me point to long. So I wait, I watch, I plot, I scheme, plot, scheming, getting money. Shout out as always to Drake's For This Thing, which is I think one of the more underrated Drake songs. But basically what I got here is I saw the 223.25. I said, Adara, if we break out of this in any way, just get out, watch, see what we do with 223s. I had a beak wetter set here for 223.49, so took out 25 pennies. Then I waited to see what we did. I was eyeing 70s. We kind of had a little bit stagnation heading into the 70s, so I got out at 69s, took 44 pennies with the rest of that TSLA position, which was half, so half out 25 cents in the money, the other half out 44 cents in the money. Please does punch with this. Shout out to Adam DeLuce, who was telling me get back at that SPY, and I was busy looking at Tesla. Wow, shout out to you, Adam DeLuce. I guess the long here was the right idea that I had on this, wasn't playing it correctly, but man, if you were long the SPY here, shout out to you. I want to shout out as well. Big Spile per dad who would be a cool $2 in the money because Sharif was saying he got involved at 539s. Great look. If the SPY bounces here at 541, I actually would be a little bit intrigued by a long here. But again, my read in it's been a little bit shaky, so it would be a bit of a scalp, and I would probably use less size. If there's any tickers you've been looking at, though, in whatever direction, you guys only have 10 minutes left to vote. Get involved in that chat, exclamation point, join space, $, whatever ticker you want. The top 5 tickers will get looked at by La Big Kahunas on that big desk with the green screen being covered by Sharif. He'll take you through the news stories. Sean and Neil will take you through the trades in this new segment that's brought to you by Real Trading. But the only way you guys can vote is to be in the chat. And the only way to be in the chat is be a subscriber. So make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. Yes, Sean, I did not make the nickname. So, but when Sharif returns, we can have a chat about that here nickname, I suppose. SPY getting your 541s. What do you want to do here at 541 SPY? Let's find out what's going on here. Let's Tesla long together, says Mark Bergman. Yeah, I already hopped out of that Tesla long, but if it keeps bouncing, specifically 223.50s was an area I liked. That could be of note. But Sharif, yeah. Sean says that the big kahunas need a new nickname.
Oh, wow. Sean, you're putting me on the spot a little.
You're muted. You're muted. Sorry,
I'm not.
Ramin was telling me.
Oh, okay. All right, I have to look at this for a second here. Crowdstrike got the, oh, come on, bro. 231.50 and it tanked $1 and I completely missed it. I had this set up. Come on, dog. Yeah, I know. Sucks to be me. Had to use the bathroom. All right, so here we go. Crowdstrike, this was an obvious level that we talked about earlier from 1105 to 1110. It came into that 231.50, 232, and this was an area that we talked about where we had the alert. It comes in there and it drops $1. So I'm a little disappointed there. Let's see if it continues to hold down, to come down, because still we're getting higher highs and higher lows. So we're getting that 226.5. low, then 229.5, and now if we hold up above 229.5, that'll be a higher low. But right now, we're well below $1 off that 231.50. It is a bit of a spready name. So right now, we're looking at about a 20-penny spread, but you already knew that because Adair has been trading and talking about how spready it is.
I have.
Giving Meta a bit of a run for its money right now. So what I'm staring at on the screen is to see if it makes a new low below 229.5. If it does, then its higher high and higher low kind of sitch is not in play. And this will actually be an interesting long if it can take, yeah, call me crazy, but if it can take that 231.50 level again, that'll be successively higher highs and higher lows, and definitely an area take that we talked about, that 11:05 5-minute candle and that 11:10 5-minute candle all holding up at that particular area. And here it goes again, right back into 231. This thing looks like it wants to take that high. So the crowded one, a lot of buying and selling, into this name as well. Keep in mind, I'm just going to give you some different levels that I'm going to have my eye on. 233 and 2/3, that's a 50 exponential on the 5, and 235 and a quarter, that's a volume weighted average price. That's where they are right now. Doesn't mean that's where they're going to be if it is to work its way up into those levels. So fantastic look here for Crowdstrike. It gave you a nice little short there, but I was slow to the punch there, to be quite honest with you. Still looking for that Pfizer top that we put in at 31.50, because that's a bit of an area top. We got to 43s, still haven't broken that level. Very interested to see whether or not it can work its way into that level. Let's look at a firm over here quickly. Yeah, happy I got out of this short on a firm because it worked its way right back into the 50. So I think I had the right idea with these 3 candles over here doing this topping kind of pattern, but it comes in and it holds a level multiple times, 3 times on the 5-minute chart. That was kind of my cue there, that you probably have the wrong idea on that, Sharif, and this is going to head back up, and it did. So good look there and good stop out. Let's flip back to big tech real quick here, see what the look is. All right. So it's not the mother of all recoveries by any means, but we are definitely off the lows. Case in point, 456.70 low for Meta. Now we're printing 463. So we're, almost basically $5 off that low. Same thing with Amazon. Basically looking to break 181 right now, breaking through the 10 and the 20. 182.50 is VWAP. Apple only down 0.33% on the day, as it and Google have performed better as a result of that TPU, Tensor Processing Unit headline. And it's definitely having trouble with this area over here, this 217.50, where pivot points is. It really hasn't been able to take that since basically 11 this morning, so right when we started the show. So AAPL, even though it's recovering, it seems like a bit possibly here of a dead cat bounce, but time will tell. Google, the best faring name in Mag 7 world on the day, and I'm not really surprised there. I could have told you that probably last night, that it would do the best given this TPU headline. And there it is. It's up 0.05, but it's the only one that's not negative. GOG and Goggles are both positive at the moment. But for how long? They just
GOG, I like that. It took me a second to realize you said GOG.
Yeah,
not
Goog.
I like it.
I don't know why I said it like that. I should have said Goog. 169.75 is where the volume weighted average price is on GOOGL. It came into that general vicinity and putting a bit of a red candle right now, but we're going to have to watch to see if this market can recover. But if you asked me just to guess, and that's all that it is, a guess, I don't think we recover today. I think it's going to be a tough, couple of months until the election. And we have this cyclicality, election year or not. Go and look at what the market did last year. Go and look at what it did the year before. It typically sells off during this time, and then we don't really catch a bid until like sometime in the fall, depending really when. Sometimes we get an October. We didn't get one last month. We got a good November. We didn't get an October. The year before, though, we did get an October. So,
And either way, you have an October animation, so you're prepared if there is an October. Shout out to Fabian for making the fun little October.
Yeah, of course. Shout out to Broad Street Wolf Sharif. What do you think about the Fed tomorrow? I think we don't get anything, but I think you're going to really have to look at his posturing to kind of read in between the lines. I mean, a lot of people talking about a September cut. That would be the next one after this one. So if he's going to tip his hand a little bit, maybe he does it tomorrow. I'll listen to the dovishness or lack of dovishness in his speech tomorrow. Again, obviously, the more telling time typically comes out when question period comes on. So hang on your hats there. It usually starts around 2:45. Adara will have all those headlines for you at the big boy desk. Freddie, the friendly guy. I have cats, live ones, LOL. Y'all make our days awesome out here. I think you're right. Shout out to you, Freddie, the friendly guy. We couldn't be more pleased that you're joining Adara and I. Obviously, no point of us being here without you guys. So shout out to you. Trader CL, bet you a beer that the ES closes the day in the green. Dude, I'll bet you that all day because it only cost me a beer for the profile, for the portfolio to be up. I'll take that bet any day. Shout out to Trader CL.
That's a good one.
Trading up a storm on silver apparently today.
Yeah, apparently trading up a storm on silver. Shout out to you, the crypto lawyer.
Woo!
Because that is my button I've been pretty responsible about, but sometimes you got to press it. Tesla rejects here of this 224. We get to like 223.90s, and it's like, do I have to? No, Tesla, it's okay. You don't have to get to 224. That's all right. I have no reason to get involved in Tesla right now, so I'm not going to rush anything. That being said, this 223.70 bounce, I don't hate. Why do I not hate it? As I said, I go down to Tesla 223.69s because that 70 area was a bit elusive at the time. So if we're bouncing now of 223.70s on the book, I don't mind that at all. I want to clarify as well why I'm trying to book trade Tesla specifically, because I know some people rightfully in the chat were like, that's kind of an interesting one to choose to learn how to book trade, right? I think that's why I like it, because it's so bamboozling, but there are still within the bamboozlement moments of clarity, and it's up to you to listen to those moments of clarity. Sometimes I do, sometimes I listen to them inappropriately, and sometimes the bamboozlement is just bamboozlement, but I think it's really it's been a huge lesson for me to try to learn how to book trade with a stock that can be so darn bamboozling. So I just wanted to say that's what I've been doing more. And as Sharif said, I do have the Tesla book up at all times. And sometimes I do talk to it. I'm like, yo, Tesla, how you doing? What's going on?
She taunts it, though, to be fair.
I taunt it, or I'm like, hey, like if you don't do that, I'm going to short you. Today, though, I was nice. I said, Tesla, don't have this move till I get back. And then it had the move. Also, I took 10 pennies or 11 pennies on the SPY trade. I got out of this clearly early. I wanted to shout out Neil Roberts in the chat. You'll see Neil Roberts pretty soon, but Neil Roberts in the chat saying something I want to echo, just that he said, trading's been okay, but sometimes I just feel like I haven't had enough confidence in the move and I've gotten out too early. That's what happened to me on the SPY, so I want to echo that, and I always want to thank our community for being so open and honest with us in this chat, because that's what makes this community what it is. I got long here at the SPY at 541 because we broke below 541. You guys know I always watch whole dollar breaks in the SPY, or I should be, I'm trying to anyway. But I saw that we got to 540.90s and bounced right back up. I said, Adara, get involved at 541, risk into 540.90s. That's what I did. We ended up getting that bounce back off 540.90s, but it was a little bit of an anemic bounce, to borrow Sharifism. I didn't see the motion in the ocean I wanted. It looked like we needed a burger. It looked like we needed some iron. We needed some ferrous gluconate. So I was like, maybe this bounce isn't going to be what I wanted. I had a resting order ready to get out at 541.11. The resting order was taken. I got out, and we continued to push higher. I'm happy with how I executed the trade to some extent, but I do think I need to be more patient. And the reason I didn't get back in the long, even though I noticed a bounce at 541.25s, is look where we had a little bit of support earlier. That's right, around 541.50s. I want to be very cognizant of what we do here in the SPY. As Sharif has said, and I want to echo this, a lot of times you're not going to see those futures levels actually play a role in the chart, but sometimes they do. And so I want to be cognizant when you have support, resistance, flippity-floppities like that. That's something I want to be aware of. So I want to shout that out. Also, Crowdstrike, shout out to you, because Crowdstrike trying to strike that level. I have been keeping my peepers on here, and that is 232.
Nice,
look at this 232 support area. That's why I took that long when we bounced off that support initially at 232, though obviously got involved a couple dollars later. But look at that level here. If we come and reject there, I don't know if I'll take it short. I might not be at this desk when we take it short because I only trade during the midday period. I'd be lying, though, if I say I'm not watching it. I know I'm cognizant of the fact that we've had the dead cat bounces. There's an obvious double bottom here at 227s. I want to be aware of that. But I mean, man, sometimes you get a support resistance flip-flop like this and you can't ignore it. So I'm going to keep eyes on it, but I'm not going to force myself to trade it unless I see something I'm obsessed with, in which case I might take it with smaller size, depending on the quality of the move I see. So there we go. What classifies a big kahuna, says Sean. I'm not really sure, but we'll find out. How are you doing over here?
I'm good.
It is a reference to Pulp Fiction. That is true. The Big Kahuna Burger. I heard Neil say that.
I've never watched
That's
Pulp
where
Fiction.
they.
I know.
That's where they go to get the burger. When they go in the house and Jules is like, "Oh, Big Kahuna Burger. What'd you get with your Big Kahuna Burger?" And then he eats it.
Oh, I know. I've been berated for not watching that movie before. I know it's a classic. Obviously, maybe one day I'll get around to it. But man, Crowd, what? I love your level on that, but it keeps rejecting off this 231.5, and here comes 230.5 already. Yeah, tough there. I wanted to mention one thing before. I had something to mention. I completely forgot. I was looking at Crowdstrike, obviously, but that wasn't the one that I was looking at. Oh, let me flip back to oh, yes. It feels like the winds of change are coming on these Mag 7 names, but then you get this stop right there at this 18,950. This was a bit of a consolidation area top on the future because we were watching the future make a great recovery there. And now we come into an obvious level that we rejected off before, 18,950. Generally, a few candles rejecting off that level. Let's see if we can take it. We've got a few more minutes left on the show. Not really a whole lot other than trading like usually, and Adara and I will chat about, some non-trading related stuff, but nothing really comes to mind. Anything happen interesting in popular culture yesterday that we can talk about? Anything?
I don't think so.
Not really.
It's my sister's birthday tonight, so I guess that's something interesting for me.
Okay.
Or it's not tonight, it's today. So yeah, shout out to Melody.
On. You went out on the weekend though for her birthday, no?
Well, okay, yeah. So part of that was for because she was in town, but that's while she was in town.
So they're gone.
But yeah, so they're gone. They are gone. Yeah. Saw them off. But yeah, so I don't know what those hands were. But yeah, so shout out to Melody, and yeah, it was my sister's birthday.
That's awesome. How old did she turn, if you don't want to tell anybody?
22.
Ooh, 22. So she's young. Okay, so you're the big sister.
I am.
There.
There's just the two of us, so I'm big sister, yeah.
Love it. Sounds good, yeah. I get bullied by my big sister, so it's, I know how you guys roll. Yeah, and I know you're the big sister, too. Yeah. I know you're the big sister, Ram. Yeah. Ram's a bully, bro. Just natural bully. Like, natural bully. Yeah.
Oh my God.
What's going on over there, Katina, man?
Me and Ram have a lot in common. She bullies, I bully the market.
This is what the Katina man said. Ram bullies her sister. He has more lofty goals, though. He bullies the market, baby. Get it, Katina man. There's about 6
Darwin's
minutes
comment in the
left.
chat?
Well, Darwin?
Now we know why Sharif pumps iron.
I know. I agree. No, in all seriousness,
That's
come
funny.
on now. I'm not gonna touch my sister, but yeah, of course, we gotta stay in shape. What's the point of trying to make any money if you're not gonna have the health to enjoy it? So that's just kind of my little philosophy there.
Health and wealth.
Adara, I like this level here that came in on Meta. This is really interesting. There's a lot of consolidation with a top here at 436 and a third. We also rejected off that level 1105. We consolidated there as a top, and now we're at that level with the topping tail. So interesting look here as the Zuck train definitely recovering off that low. A couple of more dollars here, and we're going to be $10 off the low. So great move back here for META. Volume weighted average price sitting around 465 and a quarter. I want to see if we reject this candle of indecision. The doji was, the first thing you want to see. And then let's see now if we get the move down, because this would be a gnarly retracement here on Meta and on all the Mag 7, because we're putting in that 18,950 rejection on the NQ September contract. So we'll see if that kind of rejection translates into some weakness here on the Mag 7 names. I should probably tell you guys that I was saying that all the futures contracts were in negative territory. That sense has changed. The Russell's up 0.12. The Dow faring the best today in futures world, up over a quarter of a percentage point right now. So the Dow recovering a little bit there, Adara, as it was negative. I got some tags in the chat here. Rob EV, LUMN, big, fat, rounded bottom. I saw it, sir, because this one is weaseling its way back into the volume-weighted average price. Neil called this one out earlier. We were unsure exactly why this thing was moving, because this was one hell of a buy program. If you want to see what a buy program looks like, this is it right here. There is no green volume or no red volume candles there, Adara, until the buy program got turned off. And then 345 or 344 was a high. We hold the 50, and now we're curling back into this 269, 270 area, volume-weighted average price. A good recovery, rounded bottom. We'll have to see if it can take these technical levels, though, guys. Trader CL, and you have a 0.65% left in the S before my beer gets served. I'll give you that beer any day, my man. I see the ES though as down as 0.7, so another 0.5 for you. Got to add a little bit on that tally there.
Nice, yeah.
I'm gonna take off.
Oh, thank you so much to Sharif for everything you did today. I want to shout out his awesome pharma trades
appreciate
there,
you, Derek.
using his pharmacological knowledge to make some trades there with the Pfizer one and the Merck one.
The Merck one, yeah, as well.
There's 2 minutes. 2 minutes left.
Yeah,
by the
I
way,
know.
yeah. So that's why, yeah. So shout out to Sharif.
Okay,
I don't know
so
what's happening
I will
here,
see
sorry.
everybody very soon at the big screen, Kilitadera. Hope everybody prints in the afternoon, and make sure to catch the afternoon rundown. The Big Kahuna is going to be looking at your names.
Yeah, shout out to Sharif there. Thanks again for everything you do. Crowd not even wanting to get to my 232. As Sharif mentioned, that thing took 231.50 and dropped like a stone, so I didn't short it because it didn't come into my level. One stock, though, I kind of have eyes on as we get to the end of the session, and I'm going to shock everyone because it's not Tesla. Though Tesla is at one of the levels I liked, it's actually going to be the SPY. SPY making some lower highs here. That being said, we're still bouncing off 541.10s-ish, 541, so I don't want to get involved yet. But I am seeing a little bit of a hesitance to reclaim that 541.30 area. I've had some eyes on this throughout. I don't want to rush into a short because I'm not seeing the ferocity that I want to see with this one heading to the downside, but just keeping an eye on the SPY. Also, though, keeping an eye on earnings. Someone was asking about the earnings board. I can give you the earnings I know off the top of my head. Tonight, we're going to get Arista Networks, First Solar. We're going to get Pinterest. We're going to get Microsoft. We're going to get AMD. We're going to get Starbucks. We're also, there's some other smaller ones, but those are the main ones you're going to be getting there, the big six. But Microsoft and AMD, two to look at. And it's interesting. I want to shout out Sharif. Thank you there for the earnings board. I appreciate that, Ramin. So tonight we do have AMD, Live Nation as well, Arista. We've got Microsoft. We have Pinterest. We have Lemonade. We have Electronic Arts. So lots of things to keep an eye on there with regards to earnings, and also Starbucks. So you can sip on those results. You're also going to, I was sure, hear about Starbucks trade from Sean pretty soon because he was involved in that one, I know, to the long side. But Microsoft is interesting. I want to shout out Sharif for pointing out that pattern on Meta. Microsoft, pretty similar. We come into a previous area of resistance, then we kind of coil. And I think with Microsoft, we're trying to reclaim that 420. I mentioned that 420 earlier. Should have had better eyes on it because that 420 Huadunk was beautiful. And we got it on Microsoft. Let's see if we can come back to this area. Now let's take a look here at Meta, though, because as Sharif said, the pattern on Meta, I would say it's coming very similar to Microsoft, though Microsoft, you actually have the added confluence of a 90 MA bounce. So both Meta and Microsoft looking kind of similar here. Amazon sort of resembling both of them. Nothing on this chart that I would think would make anyone say, oh boy, here. It's just kind of continuing to have a bit of a recovery, still down about 1.21% of the day, but much like Microsoft and Meta making this recovery and here bouncing off the 90 MA. But we're going to bounce off to the big kahunas, or I'm sorry, Sean and Neil and Sharif and that new segment. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. Let's go.
Oh, wrong one, Ram.